I am a kind and gentle slime rancher, and all of my slimes are well cared for.
See you, nerds.
To complete 100%, I'll be knocking over all 27 achievements, setting up a drone automation empire, filling in all 467 Slimepedia entries, opening all 111 pods and shadow doors, and hunting down elusive gold slimes for hours in order to unlock all 38 upgrades. Along the way, I might even save Rainbow Island and the entire world from being turned into gold. Welcome to 100% of Slime Rancher 2.
Alright, the Slime Rancher 2. Look at this. That's such a sick loading screen.
You may be able to tell from the 2 in Slime Rancher 2 that this is a sequel. So I began with some lovely art explaining how Beatrix LeBeau got on after the shenanigans of the first Slime Rancher. Basically, a random boat showed up, and she was like, yeah, why not? And across the slime sea she went, and soon ended up at Rainbow Island, the setting for our new adventure. And so here I am, enjoying the painterly art style at my new ranch.
Give me the pinks. Give me the pinks.
I sucked up my first few pink slimes into my backpack and shot them out into this corral.
Alright, we got the plort market. It's where you sell plorts.
Plorts are what pop out of slimes if you feed them. Basically, slime poops. I spotted some stairs, so down I went. This was a bit of a lab situation, with a fabricator over here for crafting upgrades, and a refinery over here for storing science materials.
Hee, look at this fella. Glow Foxifer.
This cute dingus is a slime toy, and this is the Slimepedia, a giant compendium that I needed to get to work filling by discovering all the glory of Rainbow Island. There was a bit of a cave system down here, so I had to poke around.
Is that the sea? The slime sea.
And I headed back up to give the fox toy to my pink slimes. Toys help keep slimes happy, and it's of course good to keep your prisoners in high spirits. Corrals can be upgraded, but I only had 250 new bucks to my name, so that'd come later.
What's this? Oh, chickadoo.
I found a ranch expansion I could purchase.
Ooh. Pogo fruit. Tasty food acquired.
I found a roostro, and I got kind of lost and somehow ended up on the range, the Slime Wilds. This area of Rainbow Island wasn't that wild though, as it only had the docile pink slimes bouncing about. I was keen to capture a few, and grab some food for my slimes too. Down this way I spied a boat, presumably the one I just arrived on.
Resource harvester upgrade required. This base is sick, man. Look at this thing. This is huge. Oh, there's a pink plort over here.
I found a couple more ranch expansions, locked behind literal paywalls for now, and I added some pinks and food into the corral. Pink slimes will eat absolutely anything, and upon munching, they poop out their lovely plorts. They do get full though, so you can't just force feed them to make them poop willy-nilly. You gotta wait a bit between feeds.
Alright, the pink plorts are worth 13 today. I feel like that's not bad.
With that, I made my first little bit of profit. I headed down to investigate the resource harvester upgrade.
Shakes loose science resources from nodes. I need cotton plorts for that.
I headed back out, sucking up carrots, and I went a little further afield this time.
Look at these guys. Cotton slimes. Give me those. Give me those dinguses.
I said hello to my first Largo. Largos are made when a slime eats the plort of another slime variety. It grows and becomes a mixture of the two. This one was a cotton pink Largo. Over here I found my first research drone, on which I read from a GG log, written by someone. They spoke of the beauty of this place, but hinted that everything went wrong somehow. One of the key considerations in this game is inventory management. You only have 4 vac pack slots, which can stack to a max of 20. On this expedition I chose to prioritize cotton slimes and plorts, and food. Scratch that. I decided to dispense with the plorts because night had fallen and the nocturnal phosphor slimes had begun appearing. I excitedly began sucking them up, and when this one made a break for it, I was in hot pursuit.
I didn't realize that was the... No, dude. I saw the phosphor slime, I got excited. Dude, I just lost all my stuff. Oh, I'm such an idiot.
Yeah, that was a wee bit silly. One of my pink slimes got out and was trying to eat a chicken, and this doodad over here was exclaiming. I fired it up to discover it was a comm station.
Hello? Hello? Victor.
Victor is an old friend from the first Slime Rancher. He's a smart scientist fella, and he already had some data for me. Last night, he received a message from an AI that he believed was located on Rainbow Island. He also gave me the blueprint for a yellow home portal, which I discovered I could craft at the fabricator. And then it was time to try again out on the range, except it was now morning again, so those phosphor slimes were no longer on the menu. I found a map data node, which revealed about half of the area I was now exploring, the Rainbow Fields.
Oh, holy dooly. Is this map enormous?
And I kept busy sucking. The problem was, a lot of the food hadn't respawned yet, but I was able to yoink a lot of wild plorts at least. And then I spotted a cave entrance.
Oh, it's one of these thingos.
That is a phosphor slime gordo, a big hungry goober. Phosphor slimes only eat fruit, so I wasn't able to feed this big fella anything just yet. I grabbed a cotton pink Largo and returned home. I shot cotton plorts at the pink slimes, and in so doing created a bunch more cotton pink Largos. And I added the 17 cotton slimes I'd collected in there too. It's safe to say this corral was somewhat over full, but I didn't mind that for now. After feeding them some carrots, I had 20 pink plorts, which I sold for 12 a pop. The price had dropped slightly since yesterday, and I shot 10 cotton plorts into the refinery downstairs.
10 cotton plorts that I shoved in the refinery and 250 new bucks. Resource harvester. Boom.
Victor sent me a bunch of housewarming gifts, and I ventured out once again, keeping an eye out for splashy liquid. With my new resource collector upgrade, I was able to suck it up, and so I collected some deep brine. Salt of the earth kind of stuff. There was some jellystone over here, so I sucked that into my belly too. I found a cube berry, and I realized there was deep brine splashing about all over the place, so I got busy collecting. I opened the gadget menu, which allows you to place all manner of doodads and decorations, and I placed the med station Victor had sent me. That earned me the Tinkerer achievement, but I actually never used this thing, because health just isn't really ever a concern in this game. Speaking of tinkering, I imagine today's sponsor had to be thoroughly tinkered. Big thanks to Red Magic for sponsoring this video. The Red Magic 11 Pro is here, packing more power into a gaming phone than has ever been achieved before. It's got the all-new Snapdragon 8 Elite Gen 5, the world's fastest mobile system on a chip, and this phone is pushing the boundaries of what it means to game on a phone. Yet in my experience, it's also just a good phone. Before the 11 Pro here, I had the Red Magic 10S Pro and 9S Pro, so I've been using Red Magic phones for over a year, and they've served me well for everyday phone use, but of course also for some cheeky gaming. The all-new 11 Pro has not only upgraded its chipset, which has provided a 20% CPU and 30% GPU performance boost, but it's also the world's first smartphone with liquid cooling liquid metal 3.0, plus vapor chamber, plus a waterproof turbo fan. All of that crazy stuff to ensure long-lasting stability. I've got the Sub-Zero model here, and you can actually see all the liquid cooling business on the back there, and there are other colors available for purchase too. It's got a sleek design, it's got some RGB lighting, it's got wired and wireless charging, it's got an audio jack, and it's got the game space. Flick this red switch here to turn it on, and the phone basically turns into a handheld gaming console. In the game space, you've got a bunch of options so you can customize things just the way you like, from tweaking performance settings through to adding a customizable crosshair. Click the link below to find out more about the Red Magic 11 Pro. Okay friends, back to Slime Rancher 2. I fired up this thing over here. It connected me to Pronto Mart, featuring Polestar provisions and the Cuckoo Corner. There were mostly decorative blueprints for sale here, but some very useful gadgets were on offer too. I didn't buy anything for now. I did spend 250 new bucks turning this plot into a farm, in which I planted a carrot. So the abundance of pink cottons here would soon have some homegrown food. The deep brine and jellystone I'd collected are purely science materials used for fabrication, so they went straight into the refinery. And I was just able to afford a second farm in which I planted pogo fruit.
We're growing some fruit, we're growing some carrot.
I fed the bouncy dinguses as much as I could manage, and eked out a bit of profit. The cotton plorts were selling for 21 a pop.
Look at this stack. They're geniuses.
And with that, I was officially in the swing of things. If I could manage to avoid plopping into the slime sea again, things were looking up. During this stage, while I was establishing my ranch, it was actually easier to collect plorts while on the range, so I collected a bunch while searching for food. And I guess it was nighttime again because I was able to yoink some phosphors. I fed the Gordo the pogo fruit I'd managed to collect.
You want more fruit? Oh, here's some more fruit.
The big Gordo wanted more fruit.
You want more fruit, you big greedy fella?
I returned home with a full stack of 20 pink plorts, which helped me afford this corral over here. I had 20 carrots too, so I was able to feed my hungry rabble, which led to some plort collection and enough cotton plort profit to afford a solar shield upgrade on the new corral.
So these guys should be fine in here now, right?
Phosphor slimes are destroyed by sunlight, so the solar shield was essential to their survival on the ranch. But by the look of it, they were going to jump straight out of the corral. I decided to suck them up for their own safety for now. I had my first harvest of pogo fruit and carrot, which fed more of the hungry cotton pinks, resulting in yet more plortage. As you can see, many of these guys were free range. They simply weren't going to be contained by the piddly corral. For now, that was fine. I just wanted a good army of slimes for early game profit.
Alright, we got the high walls on this baby. Hopefully that means these dinguses don't escape. They're threatening very closely. I save up another couple hundred, I can get air nets for them. Is this even worth it? Wait, loading market prices is literally resetting. It's not even really going to be worth it. Like, the phosphor plorts aren't even worth that much. Why am I bothering?
That reset happens at midnight every night, and because I'd saturated the market with pink and cotton plorts, their sale prices had plummeted. I could wait a few days for the market to stabilize, hoping the prices would go back up, but I lacked the patience for that. I headed back out, and as you can see, I hung on to the pogo fruit harvest, because I had a hungry friend.
Surely. Come on. Okay, finally.
Yeah, Gordos explode when you sate their hunger, and getting rid of them always grants you access to somewhere or something. In this case, a lovely cave.
Oh, what the hell? It burst into a tabby slime.
A new slime variety. And over here, I opened up my first Pokeball thingo. I can't remember what they're called, but they give you fabricator-related stuff. In this case, a decorative blueprint.
I gotta fill up a whole Slimepedia of decorations. So many.
But at least the stuff I'd seen in the shop was already ticked off. I also planned to find all of the Pokeballs for 100% completion, so it was good to knock one off the list.
Oh, you want a tabby? He wants a tabby plort. Okay.
I fed that tabby I'd found a delicious chicken, claimed the plort, and shot it into the mouth of the tabby statue.
Yes.
That opened up the door, which led through to another Pokeball. This one gave me the tank liner, an important upgrade component, so that was good find. I owned the very difficult Slimepedia entry for rain, because it started raining.
Oh yeah, you can figure out their favorite fruit. That's right. Water lettuce? What the heck? What is water lettuce? If you feed them their favorite, they actually give double. I need to get a Q-berry plant so I can feed those guys and get double plorts.
Tabbies eat meat, and their favorite food is stony hens. But it's a bit of a headache to farm chickens. It's much easier to just plant fruit or veg. So I decided to combine the tabby with the phosphors, because phosphors love Q-berries. And when you make a Largo, they retain both their composite slime's fave foods. Basically, I'd be able to feed them Q-berries and get both double phosphor and tabby plorts. No chickens required. But I was a little worried I had too many jammed in there.
I really can't afford to have these escape.
So I decided to get rid of a few of them. The official law is that all slimes originate from the slime sea. So if you shoot them back in there, you're just returning them home. But as far as I was concerned, this was an egregious slime rights violation, commonly known as murder. The reason I was being extra careful that no phosphor tabbies escaped is because when Largos eat another plort, they have a plort overload and turn into abominations. I knew this due to a disaster that occurred in my playthrough of the first game. Never forget. I did not want such a calamity to destroy my new ranch on Rainbow Island. I ventured a little further than before and found a random refinery link.
Oh, so my plorts in the wild can go straight to the refinery to be used for research. That's actually so useful. There's just one here randomly.
And there was another GG log. It seems the GG log person left this refinery here. Thank you, because this thing was extremely useful in the early game. I headed through this cave to a sandy area, which I explored thoroughly, collecting as I went.
Oh, what's that?
And I soon poked another map node, which revealed the remainder of the rainbow fields on my map. I checked out this thing more closely, a mystery indeed, and I decided to Google it. These are actually called pods. And I was really loving the refinery link because it was keeping me active out here without inventory clog. I found a pink Gordo.
Might as well try feed this guy.
He ate 20 carrots and 10 pogo fruit before exploding into glory.
The heck is this?
It's a water spout thingo that shoots you up. It's pretty useful for traversal. In this case, it helped me find a funky looking switch over here, which I of course activated.
What?
Oh, the rainbowness of Rainbow Island was evident in the impressive display put on by the thingo over there.
Oh my gosh, that was extravagant. All I wanted to find was a red cube berry, but I found many things.
I did at least find some wet lettuce, the favorite of cotton slimes. And then I checked out the thing I'd activated. It appeared to be a teleporter, so in I went. And yes indeed, new lands await. The Ember Valley.
The way that you get upgrades and make items and stuff, you need a lot of plorts. So I think I need to make a balanced farm, or balanced ranch rather.
Yeah, I'd complained earlier that phosphor slimes might be pointless because they don't make that much money. But it is definitely the right call to enslave every variety of slime you possibly can. For example, give me one of them angler slimes.
Wait, angler slimes?
I wanted this rock slime too, but I had no space left. I found some radiant ore, another science material, but again, my limited backpack space was really causing a headache.
Oh, there's a tar. There's a tar slime.
These are the abomination slimes I mentioned, created when a Largo eats a third plort variety. They often appear in the wild due to the chaos of many slimes, but on the ranch they are devastating because they have a habit of eating your entire stock of slimes.
Dude, how do I get out of here?
I was lost already, but I eventually found the teleporter and made the run back home, where I fed the rowdy rabble, planted some wet lettuce, and I planted some odd onion that I found in Ember Valley too. I made sure to feed these guys too, and sold a range of plorts at the market. The pink and cotton plorts did the heavy lifting.
Dude, one of my phosphors got out.
I returned that cheeky fella to captivity and added an air net to the corral to ensure that didn't happen again. If enough slimes bash against the air nets, they do power down temporarily. But with only 6 Largos in that corral, I hoped that would never happen. And this is why I had so many cotton pinks for the early game. They produced a lot of plorts for me to sell. I next bought another corral for my lonely angler slime. And then we go again. I could have hoarded the many random wild plorts I collected, but I needed plorts for slime science too, so dumping them into the refinery link was a fine option.
42 cotton plorts, 51 pink plorts, some other good resources in here.
I kept an eye out for pods, and I teleported back over to Ember Valley, where I caught some more angler slimes, some heartbeats, which is the favorite food of rock slimes, and I managed to find a rock slime too. These random pots can be shot at walls and broken, and in this case it was a rather generous pot. It gave me a cube berry. I've been struggling to find one of these for ages. I sadly had to give up 18 pogo fruit to make space, but it was worth it. Some areas of the world are home to rather angry slimes, known as feral slimes.
Don't get me. Ah! Oh, I took so much damage.
They are quite rude. These blue pots also give 50 new bucks, which at this stage of the game was actually quite a significant amount.
I know I'm on a mission here, but that hasn't changed anything about these guys. They're still fun as heck. Dude, those tar slimes are terrifying. Look at them grab the other slimes. Run!
I once again had no more space in my backpack, so I headed back to base, where I decided I'd combine the anglers with the rocks.
Oh no, you don't like that. You like this. Feed you one of the heartbeats.
Anglers enjoy sea hens, but rock slimes enjoy heartbeats, so I plan to feed this corral the beets. And the phosphors of course love cube berries, so it was nice to get one of those planted. I received correspondence from another old friend / rival, Mochi Miles. She gave me the refinery link blueprint, and I had my first water lettuce harvest, which I fed to the pink cottons for some double plottage. All 8 plots in this area of the ranch were now occupied, but pogo fruits aren't a favorite of any slime variety, so I destroyed that farm and replaced it with a heartbeat farm. Odd onions are the favorite of a slime variety I did not have yet, but for now they served as a veggie option to feed the rocky anglers while the beets were growing. The ranch had grown nicely, but I was still spending money as soon as I got it. These first few angler plots sold for 34, which was nice.
Oh, can I make as many of these as I want?
No, I was only able to make 1, but still it was going to be quite useful. I managed to squeeze out a few hundred more new bucks to put an air net above the rock anglers, and back out I went for another mission. I got rather distracted shoving quite a lot of stuff into the refinery link, but I eventually returned to the Ember Valley where I continued exploring. I claimed some radiant ore, I found a rather sparkly cave, and I jumped across behind this waterfall and ended up in another cave. I zoomed up on the water and landed atop these slime statues, and I soon emerged at the top of the waterfall where I found some new friends.
Puddle slimes.
I collected a decent haul of primordi oil too, and opened up this pod which gave me a vac tank component. I also found some prickly pears. I soon found yet another science material.
Oh, this is silky sand.
And so this was turning into more of a science resource focused expedition. I was also assaulted by many tars.
Why there's so many? Why there's so many? Am I not throwing them into the ocean over there?
And this area was rather sandy, so it had heaps of silky sand. I found another pod, and I was trying to be thorough in my exploration, but there were many twists and turns, and I was honestly rather lost.
I think I just placed this here. This seems like a decent spot. And then back we go.
That was indeed a decent central spot for the yellow return home teleporter, which was quite effective at helping me return home. That also earned an achievement. I shoved 7 radiant ore, 7 primordi oil, and 13 silky sand into the refinery, and I got busy with chores around the ranch, feeding my 3 hungry Largo varieties their respective favorite foods. I then of course had to collect the plots and then sell the plots, so this was quite a process. And the market had shifted, so most of these were selling for even less. But on sheer volume, I managed to get my new bucks up to almost 2,000.
Give me the upgraded power core. Do I want to store fresh water? Probably. Let's just get the water tank.
That power core upgrade increased my max energy to 150, which helped a bit to keep me sprinting. And I got another random Slimepedia entry, pollen.
I got a pollen weather event. Look at all this pollen. Okay.
I managed to scrape together enough tabby plots to get the tank booster upgrade as well, which increased the stack size I could carry from 20 up to 30. And I'd brought these puddle slimes home, but they needed water to survive, and I had no pond. Nor did I have space to build one just yet, so I just put them down here.
I think those are red lines of evaporation. Oh well, sorry fellas.
I killed some time waiting for my slimes to get hungry again, and then collected more phosphor plots, because probably the most important upgrade on the cards was the jetpack. And then it was time for the purge. The overflowing pink cottons was never a permanent plan, and it was time to clean house. I ended up with just 6 left, chilling in their newly upgraded corral. Free range, no more. On this particular day, pink plots were down to a sale price of just 5. How sad. I bought the recipes for a couple of warp depot options, but I didn't actually use these until late game. And then there was nothing to do except crack on. Except I had the jetpack now, so I was thinking a little more vertically. What treasures were hidden in the higher places? I hovered about looking.
What is this? Where am I? You got some death symbols? Have I been here before?
I had not been over this way yet. I pulled off a glorious jetpack maneuver to get this pod, which had absolutely nothing in it for some reason.
It didn't give me anything.
And down below I found another pod. Also, there was an inactive portal here.
Oh look. Wait, how have I not found this?
The jetpack shenanigans were helping me find many new delights. I roamed for a bit, fed the Gordo 21 carrots, and then received another message from Victor. Apparently the AI he was chatting to was pretty smart, as it sent him a mysterious code he was yet to crack. For some reason, odd onions grow a bunch of carrots as well, so I yoinked those odd carrots and finally made the big cotton pop. That earned me the achievement for feeding 3 Gordos to bursting, and it granted me access to a cave that led to another important button, which I activated.
There it goes. Another way forward.
I'd barely explored past the other portal, and now another was open.
The Starlight Strand, a vision of dusk and dawn together as one.
Arriving here earned me the achievement for discovering 3 areas. Another colourful land with new slimes to find.
Oh, what's that? Oh, honey slime.
I found a GG log about how the Prisma waves affect different areas in different ways, and I found a door that required a honey plort to open. Honey slimes eat fruit, so I grabbed some pogo, briefly released my singular honey slime, and soon I had the plort I needed.
Honey plort.
That of course opened the door, and inside the cave I found a pod.
Storage cell. Oh yeah, I can pick up water now, can't I? Oh, what are you? How do I open this?
I continued exploring and soon found a new science resource unique to the Starlight Strand, some buzzwax from a beehive. I broke any pots I saw for some cheeky cash, and it couldn't hurt to stock up on some of that buzzwax. I jumped up some ledges and found another pod, and I dropped down into a sandy coral area.
Is this the other side of that door I was at? How do I open it?
I then saw a rather surprising slime burst out of a chicken's nest.
Oh, a Yoki slime. It's an egg. They inspire nearby chickens to sometimes make a giant egg full of chicks and Yoki plorts. I mean, I don't have room for chickens at the moment, so I'll save that for later, I guess.
I ventured back inland a little, and finally found some more honey slimes to add to the one I'd captured earlier. I found a cave that wanted a rock plort, and my jetpack helped me get up to this cave entrance, with yet another door and yet another slime statue.
Oh, you want an angler plort? Okay.
I went in search of wild rock or angler slimes, but before finding either of those, I found a map node.
Oh, here we go.
Another day, another Gordo.
Ever since I came back, things have been a little fuzzy. Like some of my memory stayed behind.
These GG logs were hinting at some serious funny business, and I found some mint mangoes lying around. These are the favorite of the honey slimes, so I was pleased to claim a couple.
I don't really understand where I am. Oh, what do you want? A hunter?
I hadn't come across a hunter slime yet, and somehow I'd circled back to the portal I'd arrived through, and I found a pod right above it. I then decided to call it a day.
New message from Ogden Orters.
Another buffhead from the first game, who sent me a GIF. Thank you, Mr. Round Noggin. As always, after a trip out on the range, there were hungry slimes to feed back on the ranch. I got rid of the carrot farm next to the pink cottons, and instead placed another corral for the honeys, and I began to wonder why I ever planted the odd onions, which I got rid of as well, and I replaced them with a mint mango farm.
What happens if I put him in there?
I was at a bit of a loss as to what to do with the random Yoki slime, so for now I put it in with the honeys. Yokis cannot turn into Largos, so I figured it would just chill in there until I was ready for it to hang out with some chickens.
So now I need to make money.
As always, feeding my hungry slimes led to a big pile of plorts. But here's something I didn't realize about my rock angler Largos. Apparently, they can hurt you. I don't know if they were angry or if their rocky spikes got me, but I died.
What? These guys are dangerous or something. I'm getting a plort collector for these guys. I'm sick of this nonsense.
I'd been holding off buying plort collector upgrades for my corrals because they cost $750 new bucks and I wasn't that rich yet. But for my own safety, this one seemed necessary.
You buttheads.
It's also way more convenient.
I kind of want to just spend all my money upgrading my things because it's just really annoying having to collect the plorts.
And so that was that. I began sinking plenty of my profit into installing plort collectors on the corrals. After a little more ranching, I went back out once more. I decided to go back to the Ember Valley, and I soon wandered into a cave that I'd missed on my first visit to the area.
Oh. Whoa, who are you? Batty slime, fiendish stalker in the night, hunting for fruit.
I collected a few and soon found some pomegranates, the favorite food of batty slimes. Across on this ledge, I found a boom slime statue, and through this exit up here, I found another new variety of slime.
Wait, is that crystal slime? It is.
I made some space in my backpack and sucked those little dinguses up. Crystal slimes love odd onions, but I'd banished those from my ranch.
Well, what if I combine the baddies and the crystals and feed them pomegranate? I've got pomegranate now, and then I can skip the odd onions. Because the odd onions are kind of annoying because they also produce a lot of unnecessary carrot for some reason.
Unnecessary carrot is a plague upon society. Also, I found another cave, or maybe it was the same cave, I don't really know, but it led to a big spurty water thingo that shot me way up rather high. I was pleased to find a map node up here, which revealed roughly a third of the Ember Valley area. I spied a crystal Gordo chilling over here. I enjoyed a majestic view across to some lava nonsense over the water. I found a pod with a heart cell in it, and I found myself wandering back through this area with lots of splashy thingos, where I found another map data node.
Oh, we've got a thunderstorm weather event. How about that?
I made my way around to the area with the lava, where some feral slimes greeted me.
Batty boomers? Get out of here, batty boomer. Okay, I need some, like, not batty boomers. I need some just boomer boomers. Do any of those exist?
It sadly appeared there were only angry batty boomers in this area.
Is this gonna burn me? Yep.
I backtracked and took a turn up this way instead, and I wound up in yet another cave. It had the lovely boom slimes that I was after.
Some boom slimes to add to the glory. The boom slimes like meat, right? Yeah. Mix the boom slimes with the honey guys.
3 new varieties of slime captured in one expedition. Not too bad. I found a batty Gordo blocking the way out of the cave, but I was ready to head back. And I should reiterate, I was still mostly lost, stumbling about like a goose. But I eventually found my way back to the home portal I'd placed earlier. I added a boom in with the honeys with a plan to Largo them up, but this central area of my ranch was now officially full, so I had no room for my baddies, crystals, or the pomegranate. I desperately needed a ranch expansion, but because I'd been saturating the market, all the plots I had on hand weren't making much profit.
Oh dude, the prices just get tanked so hard.
Fortunately, I had a pretty good volume of plots available, thanks to the wonders of favorite foods, so I worked away for quite a while, but I still did not have enough money, so I went to bed. When I awoke, the farms had regrown, and the slimes were once again hungry.
Okay, I got enough money for something. Which area do I open first? The baddie slimes will probably like the cave. Let's just do the cave.
Batty slimes do indeed enjoy caves. In fact, they get hungry more often when out of the sun, meaning you can exploit them for even more profit. So the den was a good choice. Further around here, I discovered there was another expansion I could purchase for 6,000 new bucks. I quickly squeezed out a couple hundred more new bucks and used it to make a farm in the den.
If I just make the pomegranate farm and then leave these guys to their own devices in here, surely they'll be fine. Maybe we can just fill this cave with these dinguses.
And that was the beginning of a very serious batty crystal infestation down in that cave. I slept and had another session of slime profiteering, and then it was time for some fabrication.
Some rocker plorters in here. I believe we can afford an extra tank. This is huge.
This was indeed huge. A 5th tank for my vac pack and more storage on the go. When you start with just 4 slots, going up to 5 feels absolutely amazing. Back over in the Ember Valley, I made it my next mission to blow up this big buffhead, feeding him as many veggies as I could. I was kind of struggling to find those veggies though, and he refused to pop.
I've been searching far and wide for vegetables for you, my friend.
At least I was able to fill up on science materials while I was at it. I noticed there was a cave behind this waterfall, so I headed behind the water to check it out.
Boom. A tabby. And a batty.
A big old door requiring me to feed 3 hungry slime statues. That seemed serious, so I whipped out a notepad so that I'd remember which plorts to bring.
There's no more vegetables in the universe, bro.
At this point, I gave up on the veggie-loving crystal idiot and began trying to feed this tabby chilling out above the sea. But I was gonna need way more chickens, more materials, more pods, and I managed to bring a batty plort to the mysterious door, so that was progress. And then I switched Gordo allegiance yet again. This time, I brought some fruit to the batty chilling in the cave. Also, I found my first strange diamond, a rather rare resource. Next to this pod, I found another one, so this cave was quite generous. I managed to find a few more pomegranates for the big fella, but I was having a hot streak of Gordo insufficiency, so I gave up and headed back this way, where I collected some lava dust, quite a lot in a short span of time actually, a solid lava dust farm, no doubt, and I managed to jetpack a little bit deeper into the Ember Valley. The problem was, 4 of my vac pack slots were full of science materials, and I couldn't decide whether to hoard veggies or fruit in the 5th slot.
The big boom. Getting a massive something or other.
I jumped about exploring the surrounds, and I was soon rewarded with the 3rd and final map reveal of the Ember Valley. And the Gordo fails had been demoralizing, but
I mean, at least I'm stocking up on some of this crap.
I backtracked and managed to collect a whopping 10 carrots. Surely that would do the trick.
Finally. We got him. We got him. I don't even know where he's sending me.
He sent me up, and after a short climb, I arrived at a lovely oasis. I found a pod beneath the waterfall, and there were quite a few puddle slimes here, but that was about it. It was not the most rewarding Gordo you've ever seen. I returned home to enjoy a session sinking many refinement materials. I even sunk a few puddle plorts, and then I had a stroke of genius, or maybe just a stroke. But I made a refinery link and placed it down for a test.
Okay, when you place it, you have to wait a minute before you can deposit stuff. But still, that's not bad if you just chuck it down while you're running about.
A great discovery. And then it was time for ranch chores. I was pleased to see no Largos had escaped. I'd carefully limited each corral at about 6 or 7 Largos max, and that seemed to be working just fine. I made money. I used some boom plorts to buy the first dash boots upgrade, so my sprinting would use less energy. I made more money. And I should mention, energy use in this game is a bit of a headache when traversing the range. Both sprinting and the jetpack use it, and it regenerates pretty slowly. So any energy related upgrades were a good get.
Batty plorts are not too bad. Maybe I'll just save up heaps.
I sunk some angler plorts into the refinery and made use of the storage cell I'd found in a pod to make the 2nd tank booster, which increased my max stack size to 40. And I decided to plant another pomegranate tree in the cave, because I had a plan to go nuts with the batty crystals. Currently, I was selling a lot of plorts, for not that much profit. And that was fine for the early game, but I figured it was time I played the plort market a little. The plan was to hoard all my batty and crystal plorts in this silo, and then keep an eye on the prices. Once a favorable sale price showed up for either of those plorts, I would sell like crazy. Victor had decoded the AI's message, and it held instructions for back and forth communication, so Victor and the AI were now chatting. Victor claimed the AI sounded lonely. Mochi claimed the drones on Rainbow Island were super advanced, perhaps from aliens or from the future. Ogden claimed the plants of Rainbow Island were unnatural, and Thora got in touch to say hello and give me a bell. Based on the ramblings of my friends, it seemed this place I'd come to was a little wacky. I had a session exploring the Rainbow Fields.
Guess my methodical exploring is working, yeah, because I'm up to 10 out of 18 Thingo's found now.
10 out of 18 pods for the Rainbow Fields. Not too bad, but not that good either. Where the heck are the other 8? Oh, here's one. As you can see, I was hoarding a lot of fruit while exploring, but when I got to the Ember Valley, I was distracted because I found some random ruins. They were quite lovely. They even had stony egg lamps, which I stole. They also featured a door with a sneaky angler statue hidden around the corner. I went and found an angler plort and returned to open it up. Inside, I found a pod holding a rather intriguing item.
Golden Shore Shot module. Alright, so this is where I need to test my theory.
My vac pack was full, but I wanted this primordial oil. It was time to use the refinery on the go. I had to wait a minute, but then I was free to sink to my heart's content. Pick up more stuff and then sink that too. A lot of stuff got sunk, and at the end I just picked the refinery link up again. I popped a couple more pods, and it turned out that I brought way more fruit than necessary to pop this big dingle dongle. And yes, please, give me all of those baddie slimes. It turned out that Baddie Gordo was blocking a path that led through to the final lava area, so that was just an alternate route opened up. Why not? I did my refinery link strat again, so that I could indiscriminately collect all the materials of this area, and I was keen to grab any crystal slimes too. Also, when you squirt tars with water, they explode in majesty, like a deranged party popper at a surprise party for sewer dwellers. I found a golden pot, and it gave me a strange diamond, and I don't know how many materials I gathered on this mission, but it was enough to give me a good head start on plenty of upgrades. I found another lovely ruins up in the high places. Check out the view down below, and by the look of it, that is a currently inactive portal entrance. I then got busy making the most of my jetpack to climb atop the mountain here. I didn't find anything.
Is there any reward for getting to the peak of the world?
Nothing except vertigo. I felt I'd exhausted my options exploring up high, so I dropped down below where the inactive portal was. I found another pod, and it appears I came full circle all the way back to the lava area from a different angle.
Look at this guy. Who are you? Ringtail. Oh, there's a crime, there's a ringtail slime. They only produce plorts when they first eat, and then they just overeat and waste all your food.
That sounds like a recipe for inefficient slime exploitation. So I would have just ignored the ringtails if I could have, but I needed some of their plorts for upgrades at the fabricator, so it was essential I kept at least a few. I returned to explore this big tower a little more thoroughly, and was rewarded by a pod. But I gotta say, this was risky business, as I walked on a tiny ledge above the deadly slime sea. I was looking for some way to activate the portal above, but I couldn't find one. At least I didn't drown. I planted my refinery for yet more lava dust collecting, and this was by far my longest expedition yet, thanks to this thing. Also, I sang an awesome song. Sometimes it burns my butt. Sometimes it burns my butt. I believe that song is about lava, which sometimes burns my butt. I finally returned home, and the first order of business was shooting the 21 baddie slimes and 16 crystal slimes I'd collected into the den here. Soon they were all Largos, and it was absolute chaos. I added the nutrient and sprinkler upgrades to one of my farms, which meant it would grow twice as fast and always yield the maximum number of pomegranates. And the silo began to fill. I did the usual chores on the main part of the ranch, and I was very pleased that the boom plorts were selling for 38 a pop, and before long I had a few thousand new bucks, which I used to buy the Archway Ranch expansion. This area had quite a few archways. I found another GG log drone, and it was reiterated yet again that some calamity had befallen these lands. And I had a few more plots to work with down here, so I got to work, starting with a coop.
Make more chickens.
And I made a corral over here for the ringtails. But I was rather bewildered when they changed forms.
Wait. Oh, what? Oh, I did see some of these things. Wait, are they now dead?
I read the Slimepedia entry on these ringtails, and it turns out they turn into stone when exposed to sunlight.
Will they return to flesh if it's night, or are they stone forever now?
I turned a quick profit and bought a solar shield for their corral, and I had my answer.
Hey, they did come back alive. Great news.
I soon had my first couple of ringtail plorts. These dinguses kept sending me random gifts. Also, a wild bob appeared.
Bob! Hello, Bob. Hey, Bob. As gifts for you. Yeah, chickens. Rainbow mound. Thanks, Bob.
That earned me the achievement for chatting to all 5 old friends using the comm station.
Bob, hello, Bob. Hey, Bob. Hey, Bob.
I realized I could buy 2-way teleporter blueprints from Pronto Mart. Good to know, though they were a little expensive. And it's fair to say some silly willies were afoot down in the den. It was a little bit of a mission navigating all this, especially because the crystal slimes have a bad habit of leaving treacherous spikes all over the place. But the plorts were piling up fast.
240 plorts there already.
I then went on a chicken hunting mission. So many chickens.
Hit me, hit me, hit me. That was glorious. Oh, I'm electrified. Does that mean I have extra energy?
It did indeed, for a short while. I also earned an achievement for receiving Zeus's wrath.
Surely this is enough. Come on. No way, it's not enough. Oh, there's another one here. Oh, bro. Oh, what are these? Oh, what the heck? Is that happening because of the lightning? I didn't even realize.
I grabbed some of these fire slimes.
He's so big though. He's filling the whole doorway now.
And yes, lightning strikes sometimes leave behind science materials. So I was able to collect a decent bounty of storm glass as I happily allowed myself to be struck over and over.
Wait, lightning motes now? Okay, this is getting out of hand.
Yeah, not only storm glass, but some lightning motes too. Also, some tornadoes whipped up. So I got rid of the fire slimes to make space for a new variety of slime.
Don't you do it. Yes, we got the dervish. We got the dervish, baby.
I believe these only appear with the tornado weather event, so they're quite rare.
Think they like prickly pears? Yeah, we should get some prickly pears.
I managed to feed Big Buff here a few more chickens, but he was still hungry.
I can't believe this hasn't been enough chickens. This is a briar hen, so it really likes it. Oh, yes. I don't think I was going to be able to find any more chickens, so it's just as well that worked out.
Our refinery dumped some goodies, and another tornado whipped up, so I was hoping for a second dervish. But I got a different reward.
Oh, what's this? Drift crystal.
I was getting random weather-related science materials willy-nilly, and the door in the giant wall was finally open, so it was time to see what was what. A double Pokeball gift. I'll take that any day.
Amber Valley portal.
I also found the most revealing GG log to date. The GG log person had come to Rainbow Island with help, except they didn't end up being very good helpers. They were greedy. They wanted to profit from the island, rather than to fix the issues here, and they contributed to the collapse. I continued deeper, and by the look of it, this was quite a serious establishment, though a little run down. I soon arrived to find a happy little guy shooting a beam of light, and across a treacherous gap was a door.
What?
There was a device of some kind over here, opposite the light beam, but the light was blocked by fallen debris. I wasn't exactly sure what I was looking at, but it seemed I had no options for now.
I have a feeling I'll be back.
The storm was still going nuts outside, so I took advantage, and I actually ended up needing barely any of these materials, but it is a treat to be repeatedly struck by lightning, so it's all good. I was also on the hunt for prickly pears, the favorite food of dervish slimes. I returned to the top of that waterfall and claimed a few before returning to the ranch. Victor informed me the AI was not an AI after all, because apparently it drinks coffee, and I got busy depositing plorts, and I was soon able to make the Ember Valley portal. I popped it down here.
I don't have to run all the way to here every time I want to go here now.
I planted a prickly pear and built a corral for the dervishes down in the archways area, and I used the final plot to build a pond, because I brought back a few puddle slimes. These guys don't need to be fed anything. As long as they're in water, they just chill out, and periodically produce plorts for free. I then returned to the Starlight Strand. It seemed I was pretty much done with the Ember Valley, so it was this area's turn now.
Whoa. Oh wait, what do I feed him? I don't have anything to feed him. No, that was a gold slime. Oh, if only I had something to feed him.
Gold slimes cannot be caught, but they do produce gold plorts if you manage to shoot food in their face, so that was a missed opportunity. I zipped about looking just about everywhere, and I don't know if you've noticed, but this area was half purple, half blue. I got in a rumble with these dinguses and managed to get a rock plort. I found my first wild honey, sweet, and I used that rock plort to open this door. This was a bit of a disappointing one, because somebody had already opened the pod in here.
Wait, what? I've already been in here?
I climbed up and across fallen trees and found myself where the purple and blue meet. I jetpack zoomed across gaps, I claimed science materials and pods, and I thought this was a mint mango, but it was actually moondew nectar. I placed down my trusty refinery link and made the space to collect some of the nectar, and soon learned it was not a science resource.
Favored by the flutter slime.
Look at that pretty tree. Also, I've been saving up fruit for this big buffer. Not enough though, he did not pop. I found a wild angler plort and used that to open up another door.
Another open doorway. Ooh. This is a fancy place.
There wasn't too much to find in here, and I was soon venturing deeper into the area, and I'd managed to collect a lot of fruit.
This has got to be enough. Oh. Give me these. Flutter slimes. New slime. New slime alert.
Flutter slimes fluttering about. I found a big hole, and I soon wandered around a corner to see a big stone ringtail chillin'.
That Largo will wake up at night, I believe. They eat anything though, so that'll be a bit easier to do.
That is a Gordo, not a Largo, but yeah. And either way, give me lots of fruit, please. Soon I arrived at the edge of the area, at the big old wall.
Popping off. There's a flutter dingus. We got some more map.
By the look of it, I'd now fully revealed both the Ember Valley and Starlight Strand maps, and both were connected to the giant wall. I paid the big boy in the middle a visit.
Hello. I'll give you one of these. Look at this. Woo! Wait, what? Whoa. That is trippy.
It was now nighttime, so I returned to the ringtail Gordo and gave him a generous fee. He soon exploded to reveal a teleporter, which I immediately entered.
Oh, no way. Shortcut to the south. That's great. Okay, awesome. This is one of the platforms I found I didn't understand.
So I now had a shortcut relatively close to my base that took me all the way deep into Starlight Strand. Very nice. I was still determined to pop the silly honey Gordo, so I backtracked and finally he popped in a sticky explosion, and I gained entry to a cave that led to water. I figured I'd better drop down to see what I could find below. There was a pod, so that was good, but I had a problem.
How do I get out of here though? I don't think I can get out of here.
The jetpack has limited lift, and I knew it couldn't reach up the way I'd come, so my only option was out to sea, hoping I'd spot somewhere to land. And there was definitely somewhere to land straight ahead that I'm pretty sure I could have reached, but I think I panicked.
Oh dear. Nope, I'm dead.
I didn't lose much, so it wasn't really a big deal. Just a free trip home. I upgraded my health, which earned me the achievement for crafting 8 unique player upgrades, and I realized the second vac tank upgrade was within reach. I mixed my ringtails with the dervishes so that I could farm ringtail plorts a little faster, and I collected so many plorts. But I still needed more money.
Sale of baddies has gone up. Maybe I should just do that today.
So I collected many batty plorts, but I didn't want to carry 40 at a time all the way to the market, so I crafted a market link. Old mate gave me a rather useful gift, and I finally remembered I had a random Yoki slime in here. I popped it in with the chickens to see if it could work its giant egg magic. I realized I could fabricate the blue home portal immediately, so I did. And as you may have noticed, I actually held off selling the batty plorts because I figured I better wait for midnight. Because if I only had time to sell half and the day ticked over, the sale price would have plummeted. It was better to use a fresh day to make sure I could sell all of them in the one day. The price did drop to 36, but that was good enough for me. So I set up the market link in the cave, and it let me sell like a madman without having to run back to the main market terminal. I think I sold close to 300 batty plorts, which made me about 10,000 new bucks. I used some of that cash to upgrade the farms in here, so I'd have an even more effective free-range cave of chaos.
And then hopefully the crystal plort price climbs, because I've got a few hundred here. Oh, there's a big egg! A big egg! Oh, what the heck? What are those? Oh, Yoki plorts. Break a Yoki slime egg.
As you can see, there were a lot of chickens. I don't remember chickens being such effective breeders in the first game, but here they were absolutely going for it. I had no idea if I would need these Yoki plorts, but I chucked them in the refinery. And then I was on a mission for silky sand. I needed a bunch for the next vac upgrade, so it was high priority. And here's why I brought all those chickens with me. I had unfinished business with a big fat tabby. It soon exploded and opened another shortcut.
Alright, so now I've got a teleporter from here to here. Nice.
I somehow only found 6 silky sand though, so that was a letdown. But the day hadn't ticked over yet. The batty plorts were still at 36 for a few more hours, at which point they would probably halve in value. I figured I might as well make hay while the sun shined, and I managed to earn another few thousand new bucks in profit.
Quick, one more before the day ends. Lovely.
These enormous eggs were now a regular occurrence. I pity the chicken that pooped that out. And with 4 ringtail dervish lagos, I was able to collect a better number of ringtail plorts, thanks to the prickly pears. I'd fallen into the sea with the flutter slimes I'd caught earlier, so I sucked up a few more of those.
How am I ever going to get enough nectar to feed this guy?
I did try to plant moondew nectar on the farm, but that obviously did not work, because that would make no sense. You can only collect it in the wild on some flowers, but it seemed rather rare, so popping this flutter gordo was going to be tricky. Since they are moondew nectar, none was available during the daytime, so I'd have to come back. For now, I dropped down here.
Hunter. Hunter. Aha! Something new.
A new variety of slime and delicious silky sand. There was a massive area with pretty much nothing in it over here, and I soon headed back up because night had fallen and I wanted some of that nectar. As I said, it appears on the flowers around and about, but I was having trouble finding many. Either some cheeky flutters had already eaten what was available, or I was bad at looking. Judging by these many plorts, I suspect some flutters may have been at least partially to blame. I managed to feed Gordo a few before the day came around once again.
Hunter statue.
I fed a chicken to one of the hunters I had with me, and this door led to the teleporter.
Oh, it's just a shortcut to here.
So the map had well and truly opened up to me. Now I just need to figure out how to get past the giant wall.
Absolutely huge upgrade, dude. Extra tank 2 is amazing. I need storage cells though so I can get bigger stacks.
With that, I now had a 6th backpack slot, very nice, and I bought access to the Gully Ranch expansion.
Why's there funny noises here? Wait, what is that? You see that? It's flying over there. Am I supposed to follow it? A weird drone like phasing out of existence almost. There it is. What is it doing? It did leave me here. Hello. Ghostly drone. The quantum component you just acquired vibrates with an almost otherworldly energy.
That component added a new blueprint to the fabricator.
They flicker through obstacles and store items in the quantum cloud. They do tasks in the ranch or out on the range. I'm definitely going to have an entire section just for farming flutter bees then.
Making a single drone requires 100 flutter plorts, so I needed to go big. I planted a bunch of prickly pears in the gully, I unleashed the 20 flutter slime I brought back, and I used some dervish plorts I'd farmed to begin making dervish flutter lagos. This was a new free range setup, designed for flutter plort drone farming, and the dervish plorts would be farmed for profit.
Flutters are pretty easy to collect, so I'll go get more flutters soon. So I'll put my hunters in here, which is perfect position actually, because they eat meat.
Chicken. Meanwhile, Victor had been chatting some more with his AI, not AI pen pal, and it had given him a blueprint.
Complex blueprint of partial schematics. Almost alien code.
He said something about a labyrinth too.
What is the grey labyrinth, dude? Radiant projector. I just need silky sand. Dude, it's not even expensive.
Apparently this radiant projector was what I needed to progress past the mysterious door that had stumped me earlier.
Alright, let's get the dash boots too. So now my sprinting should be more efficient. Problem is I don't have that much energy because I can't find a power chip to save my life, apparently.
I then headed out to collect more flutterbys and any nectar I could find. I was able to feed Big Dorcas 6 more.
How many do I need to give you, dude?
I used the daylight to track down more silky sand. I managed to collect 15.
The radiant projector. Help restart long dormant devices.
Just what the doctor ordered. I grew the flutter dervish chaos a little and began hoarding, and I managed to sink over 100 flutter plorts.
Oh, I need 3 more wild honey.
I then randomly bought a bunch of cheap blueprints for some reason, but this red teleporter blueprint was was a good purchase.
That's how expensive the two-way teleporters are. I don't have any of the resources yet. There must be a new zone to go to.
I diligently attended to these lunatics, and I was beginning to be a little bit more picky selling the plorts produced on my early game ranch. Cottons was selling for 22 today, so I thought that was decent. I was being picky partly from a profit maximizing angle, but mostly from a laziness angle. I ventured forth to the Ember Valley, where I revisited the hole in the wall once guarded by a big boom, and I played around with bouncing light.
Gotta get this beam projected. Reaches there, but I can only bring the beam like there.
It seemed pretty clear that I was going to need a second radiant projector. This bloke just kept giving me portals. I made a second projector, and it was night, so I headed to the Starlight Strand.
You. Lucky slime. Meat. I don't have any meat for you.
I quickly scooped up some nectar.
I got 4 more for you, dude. Oh, there's enough.
I think he only ate about 10 total, so it wasn't so bad after all.
Oh, okay.
I resisted the hole for now because I wanted wild honey. I managed to collect 18. Fire slimes are like puddle slimes. They can't become Largos and they don't eat normal food. I thought they just needed to hang out near the heat of an incinerator, and that'd keep them happy. So I got rid of this prickly pear bush and whacked one of those down. But the fire slimes wandered about aimlessly, so this didn't seem promising. Also, I actually needed that prickly pear bush for the dervish ringtails, so I don't know what I was doing. Anyway, time for ranch chores. The corrals in the main area of the ranch were getting a little overfull with plorts, so I figured I'd better sell some, and that helped me afford my first drone. I wasn't sure what the best use for this guy would be, but I decided to put him down in the Flutter Dervish free range area.
Target plorts from free range into the silos. Go.
And off he went. I fully upgraded this silo so that it could fit a max of 1200 plorts, and I grabbed some plorts.
24% battery. If I put one flutter plort in there, 38, okay.
So just a handful of plorts was enough to charge drones up, but you can actually overcharge them.
108%. I can just get them to go out into the wild and collect stuff?
You can indeed get them to collect plorts or science materials out in the range, which became incredibly useful later. I was excited about this new frontier of automation, so I made sinking many flutter plorts into the refinery a priority, because as soon as I had more drone modules, I wanted to make more drones.
I mean, do I just leave my drone? Here he goes. He deposited 50 of those flutter plorts. Alright, I'm just gonna leave him. Hopefully that means it just keeps working while I'm not looking.
I then tried to jetpack while low on energy, and I fell into the sea. And I woke up the next day to notice that dervish plorts were selling at a sale price of 63.
It's quite possible the ceiling gets higher, but 63 a pop seems pretty good to me.
And so I had a session sinking dervish and flutter plorts into the market and refinery respectively.
Alright, so that's everything that was stored up, which was about 250, 260, 270, I don't know. Well, while I've been here, I'm pretty sure these guys have been munching.
I did a little collecting to finish off the dervish market dump, and it was a profitable day for sure, as I now had over 25,000 new bucks. It was then time to play around with beams of light, and 2 radiant projectors did the trick.
Hey! It worked. Open the door to the Grey Labyrinth.
At long last, I had made it through the massive wall.
This is looking trippy. Ow! Woo-hoo-hoo. I guess I go in.
And so I arrived in the Grey Labyrinth.
It's like it's a whole nother world.
I'd just come from the Ember Valley, and this area of the Grey Labyrinth stuck with that theme, as lava was about. And there were some shadow slimes bouncing around too.
I can't collect you and you have no diet? Why are there bees here?
I collected some magma combs and tin petals, 2 new science materials. I didn't know what to do with these shadow slimes. They were rather skittish and seemed to disappear after being disturbed by me. But when I dropped down into this lava-filled nonsense, I discovered a shadow plort. I have no idea how that got there. After making some space, I sucked it up, which gave me the Shadow Slime Slimepedia entry, which told me their plorts are essential to solving puzzles in the labyrinth.
I don't know how their plorts get made, but hopefully I find some more somehow.
I climbed back up and continued deeper, and around the corner I found a hologram of a girl, ready to have a chat with me.
It's you! I can't believe it. Oh my gosh. Hello Beatrix. I mean, Miss LeBeau. I mean, is Beatrix okay? Sorry. I just can't believe I'm talking to you right now. You're kind of a legend where I'm from.
After she got over her starstruck silly willies, she told me she was Gigi. The same Gigi from the GG logs. She's the one that sent me the random boat I'd arrived here on, and she wanted my help to save the world.
Something from outer space crashed into Rainbow Island and it began to change things. The Prisma Core.
Apparently this alien Prisma Core is what made Rainbow Island so colorful.
Traverse through the Grey Labyrinth and find GG.
She said it started with color, but the Prismacore eventually makes things change elements, and when that happens, things get dangerous. She wanted my help to stop it. I got busy exploring the labyrinth, because if the fate of the world was at stake, I figured I'd better get on the move. Although that's not true at all, because I am famously a dilly-dallyer who can't resist stopping constantly to collect resources.
What do I do with this?
It appeared to be a sun-looking something, so I shot my singular shadow plort at it. It ate the shadow plort and rotated just a tiny bit. I kept on the move, and labyrinth is correct. This place definitely had a lot going on, with plenty of twists and turns. I found another of the weird sun thingos, and I flicked a switch to open the way forward. By this point, I'd googled how to get shadow plorts. You just have to attack the shadows. If you hit them directly with any projectile at all, they'll pop out a plort. Sadly, I had 0% accuracy.
Dude, I don't know what the hell's going on, man. I'm so lost. The thingo's on the map now. The thing I need to put shadow into.
I found a big pipe, so I went into it and soon emerged into a rather large area, bustling with slimes. A hungry rock statue watched me from above, and I couldn't help but notice there was something strange about this chicken.
Unstable meat? The hell does that mean?
All of the food here was unstable for some reason. I fed this slime some unstable fruit, and I noticed that fruit was flying everywhere.
The hell? They're getting sucked out of my back. What? Oh, unstable plort.
If you feed them unstable food, they'll give you unstable plorts. Makes sense. But also, I had no idea what was going on, especially because one of the key traits of unstable plorts is that they like to fly out of your backpack unbidden.
Can I even hang on to these unstable plorts? They're just gonna keep flying out of my bags.
But when I walked close to a weird shimmery golden thingo, that worked in my favor.
What is this? What is this?
I soon realized there were some yellow plorts on the ground.
Oh, prisma plort. Oh, if I put the unstable plorts in those things, I get... Oh.
If you shoot an unstable plort through the funky floaty gold stuff, you get a prisma plort. Good to know. I continued forward and activated this device, opening up a rather majestic door. And with that, I was out and enjoying the sunshine once again.
Holy dooly, this is huge.
Gigi explained that it was a prisma disruption that had caused the unstable business. Apparently those come in waves, and I'd need to exploit them in order to collect the prisma plorts essential to our mission. And we were still in the labyrinth, because whoever built this place was rather impressive.
It's actually bigger on the inside than on the outside.
I continued exploring, and I soon found a Polari cherry in a pot. I hovered over the mysterious fog below, and I soon found a new friend.
Hey. Twin slimes.
A good find, no doubt. I also found a giant golden circle something rather. As I climbed this tower, I found another new science material, some black indigonium. I continued to find these shadow plort hungry doobish and I was just trying to collect as much of the good stuff while getting my bearings. I dropped down here to find a spinny shadow statue, but I didn't have any shadow plorts, though I did manage to actually hit this little guy with a tin pedal to the face.
Oh, it dropped a plort.
I gave it to the statue, but I couldn't figure out what that achieved. Gigi gave me a disruption detector, which detects when those prisma disruptions are coming, and collecting shadow plorts appeared to be quite a challenge, especially up on these walkways.
Sloomba? What the heck's a sloomba? Dude, what is going on here, man?
There was a lot to see and a lot to take in, but I probably should have used something less valuable than tin pedals to shoot at these shadows.
Dang it, I think I just threw a bunch of... Wait, what? Oh no. There was a path down there. Oh, you idiot. I just walked straight into some fatal dust.
In my defense, there was a path down there, and I love dust.
Hey. Get back in there.
I think that fella was so hungry he managed to escape. And oh well, let's just pretend I didn't lose a bunch of valuable stuff and instead claim that death was a lovely shortcut home to some ranch chores. I bought the tank guard upgrade.
So now if I die, I won't lose as much stuff?
That is very useful for someone like me. Meanwhile, I found the drone lacking, but it wasn't really his fault.
They don't eat unless I come here.
By the look of it, the slimes don't load in unless I'm near. I needed to drop by so they'd all munch on pairs, and then the plorts would drop and old mate drone could get to work picking them all up. I wish they just constantly ate and pooped while I was away, but that didn't seem to be the case.
Alright, almost everything is on the board now. That's the unstable slime. The twin slimes are worth 80. If only I hadn't gone into toxic dust with all my twin slimes.
It's fair to say, tending to all the many slimes on my ranch was now quite a long process, but it did lead to another tank guard upgrade.
I want to go drop into that hole. Thanks, Bob. So these idiots are slowly giving me stuff for the Slimepedia, which is great. Alright, so what's down here?
I dropped down the hole at the end of the Starlight Strand and found exactly what you could have guessed. Another big honkin' door requiring some light beam redirection. And then I fell off a cliff.
Oh, dude. Oh, I actually kept some stuff. Oh, I kept the crystal. That's great.
That's what the tank guard is for.
Starlight Strand portal.
I found the blueprint for that down the hole, and it was another good shortcut to have.
I'm gonna buy this while I'm here. Why not? Tide pools. Oh, there's another one of these guys. Come here. No, don't run away. Okay, so now I can make another drone.
My first drone had done a pretty good job filling up this silo, but I needed more wild honey to make a second drone, and I needed to do some collecting to make more radiant projectors too. So I got busy. I collected silky sand, I collected wild honey, I ran around like a headless goosen, and I was soon performing light beam bounces with a couple brand new radiant projectors. It opened up to an area much like the weird funky portal area in the Ember Valley, except a little more Starlight Strand themed, and soon I was heading through to find I was plopped down in a different part of the Grey Labyrinth. Instead of lava, there was water here, and I'd brought a stack of rock plorts purely to shoot at shadows, so I had a little more luck collecting some shadow plorts. I found some aqua glass, another new science material only found in this area. I found another shadow plort door and figured I might as well sink my shadow plorts into it, and when I wandered over here, it was shadow slimes galore, so I let loose with a wild stream of rock plorts. It actually worked out pretty well for me, as I managed to collect 17 shadow poops. I decided to test how many this thing actually wanted. Apparently more than 21. By the look of it, it just needed a few more to rotate fully to night. These tight hallways were definitely the optimal place for shadow plort farming. It makes the slimes way easier to hit, and 4 more shadow plorts got the job done. But that was a pretty high effort affair, so what was my reward?
It gave me a Slimepedia entry. Well, a wall landing's kind of cool actually. What's a Sloomba? Well, I mean, I need the full Slimepedia for 100%, so it is what it is.
I also needed to open all the shadow doors, which are essentially the pods of the Grey Labyrinth, so this was good progress. And I must say, the underwater vibe with all the coral and shimmery reflections, pretty cool. I once again explored thoroughly, collecting as I went.
What do you want? You want angler and you want boom.
I was at least able to get an angler, and I soon made my way to this massive area.
This place is huge.
I'll take some random free shadow plorts. Look at that bloke stuck on the wall, what a dingus. And it seemed the only way was up, so up I went as I began opening up the area a little. I attempted to go higher still, but my jetpack didn't seem cut out for it, so I thought I was at a dead end and backtracked for some more shadow slime abuse, which was quite fruitful actually, and I was trying to figure out if there was something that I'd missed. I then realized I just hadn't been creative enough with my jetpack movements. There were in fact enough platforms staggered such that I could slowly work my way up. And finally I managed to yoink a section of the Grey Labyrinth map.
Oh, 1 out of 25? 1 out of 25 shadow thingos. Okay, that's a lot.
I slapped another button and I was able to go up even further, and up and out down a tube and through to the more open area of the labyrinth that I died in earlier. I used the refinery link to clear some bag space and got down to business. I found a disruption area with instability shenanigans going on, so I took advantage of that and managed to collect a few prisma plorts. I scooped up some twin slimes. I sunk 25 shadow plorts to pop another one of these things. I harassed some shadows, and I tried to pop another shadow plort door.
Oh, this one's hungry. It wants more than 25.
I made my way over to this impressive building, and up the stairs to some more beams of light. I needed more radiant projectors.
I wonder if I can just collect the ones that I've already used. Surely that won't make the door close.
I headed back into the lava section of the labyrinth where I used a rock plort to open a door. I secured some more prisma plorts. I opened another door using a rock plort, and I realized I'd made a very convenient shortcut that ran straight through, skipping a lot of nonsense. I then headed back through the funky portal and picked up the 2 radiant projectors. The door stayed open, so that was good news. I returned to the building with the light puzzle, but before long I realized this wasn't actually possible with just 2 radiant projectors. I needed a third. It felt like it should work, but it just refused, so I quickly hunted down some baddie plorts and found my way back into the watery area, where I used the baddies to open some more shortcuts. I took any opportunity I had to headshot shadows, and in these tight hallways it was working wonderfully, and I soon had a full stack of 40. And of course, through the portal I went to grab the other 2 radiant projectors. I then accidentally found a massive area that I was pretty sure I hadn't been to before. I pressed a button to make a window dematerialize, and I figured I might as well sink my shadow plorts to make space for more. And this door was very hungry. 40 only fed it halfway. I then finally returned to finish the light puzzle, and I immediately scooped the projectors back up this time. All that effort opened a door leading to a rather large drop down to dusty death.
Huh? How the heck am I going to get over there? I can't fly that far.
It was a beautiful view, but I was worried that if I tried to jetpack over that far, 150 energy would not be enough.
I mean, maybe I could land on that, but then I feel like the dust is just going to kill me.
I decided I'd come back later, and after another shadow plort farm session, I dropped a home teleporter and got out of there. I made some accelerators and the red return home portal, and I shoved a bunch of twins into the hunter corral. There may have been a few too many. Polari cherries are twin slime's favorite food, so I got rid of the incinerator which had failed to keep those fire slimes alive, and instead planted some cherries. And it was definitely too full in this corral as a couple of largos escaped, so I shot a bunch of them into the sea. I then pulled up the Slime Rancher 2 map on the wiki, which shows you where all of the pods are, and I got busy collecting. I needed these for 100%, and I wanted some more upgrade parts. I also got rid of the wet lettuce so that I could make a silo to store the prisma and shadow plorts. I collected 3 out of 3 pods around my base first, and then I headed to the rainbow fields. The problem was I wasn't sure which ones I'd already opened, so the map I was looking at sent me on a bit of a wild goose chase at times, but it of course also helped me to find plenty that I hadn't managed to find in my exploration earlier.
Oh, what? There's a drone guy up there. Huh? Hello, you. You, talk to me.
That was a bonus, thank you very much. And just from the rainbow field pods, I'd found a few upgrade parts, and I was able to increase my max energy to 200. I then randomly remembered the note I'd left for myself.
Waterfall north of Ember Valley, locked plot door requires Boom and Tabby. Rainbow Fields is done. Let's go take on the Ember Valley. I need 9 more.
And so I got busy in the valley.
Oh, and there's a storage cell. That's exactly what I needed.
I also found a jetpack drive, and apparently I didn't explore this northern area very well before because I hadn't collected many of the pods up this way. And I guess these drones were out and about now that I'd made my first drone. So that was another bonus.
I left a note in my notepad like 200 years ago about this. Boom. Tabby. What is this? Powderfall Bluffs. Wait, what? Discover Powderfall Bluffs entrance. What does that mean? Going to a whole new place? Oh, it's snowy. Are you serious? I missed a whole zone?
Yeah, I missed a whole zone.
There's 24 here? Alright, well, I guess I'm gonna find all 24 of those.
No one told me there was a snowy area, but fair enough, here we are. I got straight down to business. I found some slime fossils, and as this was a fresh area, snowy fresh, obviously I hadn't collected any of the pods here, which meant I would be able to systematically collect them pretty efficiently, in theory.
Oh, there's sabers here.
In reality, it wasn't so easy, because the cave system was massive and convoluted, and the surface of the land above had plenty of nooks and crannies too.
Oh, here we go. We got some sabers.
I found another new science material, and after an old faithful refinery link dumpage, I picked up the perfect snowflakes. I also sucked up some snowballs.
Get snowballed, you silly boom. Wait, can I get on this? I can get on this.
I bumbled about finding pods and soon exited somewhere up at the surface, where I nabbed another pod and had a quick look around. I found a saber gordo up here.
What is this weird business?
This Aurora business only shows up at night, which makes sense. But I was confused as to why I was able to walk on it. No arguments here though.
Yes, another storage cell.
I found a thundercluck, which I fed to this handsome fella, and I tracked down a map node, which helped a lot with my exploration as the pods continued to roll in. This is where the cave confusion came in as I looked for pods, because I was like, is the pod I'm looking for in this cave, or is it above, or is it in another part of the cave? How many levels does this cave have? Have I been in this cave before?
Oh, I missed it. I just switched to a chicken.
Yeah, I was a little slow on the reaction time there, and another gold slime opportunity went begging. And so it went, getting lost in the caves, collecting chickens, stocking up on sabers, and can you believe my gold slime luck?
Oh, hang on. Yes! No way.
I spotted that one before it spotted me, which made it much easier to hit.
I got the gold slime. I got a gold plot.
I thought I was done with gold slimes after that. I now had the Slimepedia entry, so it was happy days. Little did I know, I was going to be hunting multiple gold slimes later. I spotted a drone dingus.
No. Oi, come back.
And it was definitely a lot easier to get around at nighttime here, thanks to the fancy bridges. The Aurora trees were quite majestic too. I found some sunsap, another rare science material, and the gold plort was causing some inventory clogs, so I decided to sink it into the refinery, which was actually the right option in any case. I kind of wish it ticked over to daytime and these bridges disappeared while I was above the ocean, because that would have been big funny. But you get the idea, science materials and pods. I failed to satisfy this fella, even with 30 chickens, and I tried to climb to the peak of the mountain, but had some trouble. I suspected that was because it was daytime and some helpful bridges had disappeared. All good, I had other daytime appropriate pods to nab. It seemed I was missing one in the caves, but where the heck was it? And when night arrived once more, it was indeed helpful. Finally, I was done collecting many pods.
24 out of 24. Boom.
I finished feeding the Saber Gordo and that opened up a teleporter, which I went through immediately because I was done with the snow for now.
What the heck? This took me to Ember Valley?
Well, I needed 3 more pods here, so no worries. Except I had no idea which 3 I was missing. I began using a Slimepedia technique, checking what I was missing in the Slimepedia, assuming that would help me figure out which pods to target based on what was in them. This worked well to help me find 2, but the 33rd and final pod of this area was a mystery. I spent a while looking, but I could not figure out which one I was missing. I did run into yet another gold slime though, and this one also failed to notice me, so it was an easy plort. I decided to sell this one, and while it did earn me a juicy 449 new bucks, this was a bad choice. And I gave up on that final Ember Valley pod because it was about time I got back to business. I found a power chip in my pod rampage, so I increased my max energy to 250, and I realized you need gold plorts for the golden sure shot upgrade, which is the reason I shouldn't have sold that plort.
Alright, I need so many resources that I can't really be bothered going and collecting.
The drone down here was doing an okay job, but it was time for a change. I could get a bunch more drones if I collected certain science materials, so I tested this thing out on the range. I plonked it in the Starlight Strand and told it to collect crafting materials for me. Just then, I was hit with a vine tangle event.
What do you mean vine tangle? Hey, what's that? What are you doing here?
Tangle slimes show up during vine tangles, so this was a fortunate find. And the quantum drones don't literally collect science materials from the environment, they just magically yoink the materials from the quantum realm.
Oh, you're searching the quantum realm for good stuff. I believe in you, bro. Keep it up.
I left it to do its thing, and was very happy when Victor gifted me a pink two-way teleporter. And I was even happier when I was able to make it immediately.
Wait, what? The rock plorts are at 35? Holy crap.
I hadn't sold anything for a few days, and the market was now quite favorable to all my early game plorts, so I had a session selling. Meanwhile, on the left down there, I got notifications about what my drone was doing.
Yeah, this drone keeps finding storm glass. I'm so confused.
Now that my drone had been reassigned, I did some Flutter Dervish collecting myself, and I decided it was time to tidy up the den, so I began burning crystal baddies alive. I ended up with one somewhat overfull corral, and the reason I murdered all these Largos was because I'm lazy. I couldn't be bothered picking up all the free-range plorts anymore. I wanted the convenience of the corral's plort collector. I purchased the final ranch expansion, the dig site, which is behind the den. That earned me an achievement, it had some lovely spring pads, and it offered up yet another drone module. I got rid of my pond, and I got rid of these dervish ringtails and instead shot a bunch of ringtail plorts at the saber slimes. But I'd brought way too many sabers home, so the rest plopped into the sea. I had dervishes covered over in the Flutter Dervish free range area, hence the freedom to get rid of those dervish ringtails. I placed a corral where the pond had been and made the tangles I'd caught into tangled twins, because that made them easy to feed with the Polari cherries.
Because I feel like this bush produces so much fruit, I can feed them both.
I sold some twin plorts, saber plorts, and yoki plorts to earn another achievement.
Sell 15 different types of plorts. Very nice.
And here's why I'd had the freedom to get rid of that pond. The dig site had a far superior pond built in, perfect for my puddles.
Here. So now I can place the other end of my pink teleporter where I like.
This drone had been collecting some random materials. Pretty quickly though, to be fair.
Drift crystals, storm glass, and lightning modes.
You can send these straight to the refinery from the drone console, so that was pretty handy. But these were not the materials I wanted. My guess was I needed to go to a more specific location, so I went to where honey can be found.
Oh, now I can be more targeted. Okay. Wait. I can be extremely targeted in this zone. So I was just in the wrong spot before, I think.
And I wanted wild honey, so I targeted wild honey and shoved some plorts in there to charge it up. I also placed the other end of my pink teleporter here, so that managing the drone would be a breeze.
I definitely need more teleporters and more drones, and then I can just get everything automated. I can't be bothered collecting stuff anymore. I'm done with that old life.
I bought the 3 remaining two-way teleporter blueprints from Pronto Mart, and I earned a very important achievement to pet the Pronto Mart cat. I also upgraded my jetpack, making it more energy efficient.
The Shadow Shore Shot will be sick. I need hyper plorts and Sloomba.
I accidentally got the achievement for flying for 5 seconds with my jetpack. I guess the new upgrade helped with that. And my drone was now on a wild honey quest, so I personally put in a shift hunting lava dust before using the pink portal to visit the drone and shove the 6 wild honey it had collected into the refinery. But I needed more than that, so I decided to test what sleeping to pass time would do to my drone's efforts. It got 5 more while I slept, and that's when I realized collecting stuff was going to be extremely quick and easy once I had an army of drones and a teleporter system to go with them. However, I'd spent the 25,000 new bucks I'd earned just a couple of days ago already, and I was broke. The dervish plorts were only at a sale price of 51, but it had to be done.
Alright, I got 500 flutter plorts in the refinery. I'm just gonna sell the rest now.
This took a long time, as I sold hundreds and hundreds of plorts, and it was nice to see the free range chaos post a solid profit.
Alright, that'll do. We're up to 44 grand, not bad. 13 wild honey while I was doing that. Holy crap, it's effective, isn't it?
Finally, 5,000 new bucks later, a second drone.
If I get strange diamonds and radiant ore, then I can get the snowy teleporter.
And I was now on a mission to of course make more drones, because I still had 5 more drone modules, but the two-way teleporters were high priority too.
You can get strange diamonds, my friend. Go for gold.
Thankfully, this pink teleporter led to a spot where I could get the drones to collect quite a wide range of materials I needed, and so a little drone hub formed.
Switch you to radiant ore for a bit, because I need another teleporter.
I needed various plorts to contribute to my crafting ambitions too, and since my twin hunter corral was overflowing with plorts, I figured I might as well sell some. I slept again, and a whopping 20 radiant ore was collected. Because it's quite a common material, it gets collected faster. But 0 strange diamonds came through, and I had a worrying theory I wasn't allowed to have 2 drones at the same location.
If I sleep and I don't get any wild honey, then I know that I can't have 2 in the same area? Is that the problem?
Both wild honey and radiant ore were collected, which helped me work out the reason the strange diamonds hadn't come through was because they're gathered much slower due to their rarity. I just needed to give it more time. So this is the point in the playthrough where I started randomly sleeping a lot, and soon 3 strange diamonds came through, along with the juicy 24 wild honey. I finally used one of the storage cells I'd found to upgrade the tank booster again. I practiced strategic sleeping, and soon 70 wild honey and 6 strange diamonds had piled up. Along with wild honey, lava dust seemed to be a very in-demand material, so I stole one one of the drones and looked around for a suitable location. I soon had the drone collecting lava dust near where that boom grotto had been, and while I was in the area, I did some lava dust collecting of my own. With that lava dust, I made the snowy two-way teleporter, and I was cheering when old mate sent me another two-way teleporter blueprint. I was able to send the lava dust to the refinery using the drone set up at the other end of my pink teleporter, so that made things easier, and I was running around shoving all sorts of stuff into the refinery. I soon made a third drone and the blue teleporter, and all the while I kept feeding the dinguses so that I could keep the plorts flowing. I made the Powderfall Bluffs portal and immediately went through because I needed more saber plorts. Because I'd mixed my sabers with ringtails, I had no favorite food for those largos, and therefore I was gathering saber plorts annoyingly slowly. So I recruited this drone to help the cause and set up the snowy teleporter next to it for ease of travel. Soon enough, I had the saber plorts necessary for another tank booster, so I was suddenly able to carry stacks of up to 60. I returned to the drone near the lava and set up the other end of the blue teleporter here, establishing handy two-way travel to the valley, and my automation empire was beginning to look pretty juicy.
Okay, well, I'm in serious business here. What do I do?
The saber plort drone had collected about 70 rather quickly, so I decided that was enough and yoinked back the drone and teleporter. And I'd also made a fourth drone by this point, so suddenly I had 3 drones chilling by the pink teleporter collecting up a storm. A range of goodies were now coming in thick and fast.
Would you look at that? A bunch more delicious things.
I soon made yet another drone and earned an achievement.
Craft 5 quantum drones. A wonderful achievement. I've also got 1 two-way teleporter spare, so I can go straight to the Grey Labyrinth and immediately begin farming higher tier materials.
And so, after an extremely long detour collecting pods, upgrading like crazy, and establishing a drone economy, I finally returned to the Grey Labyrinth. I began testing spots for the drone to go down, and when I came across this royal jelly, I knew I'd found it.
This is what we want. We want royal jelly and black indigonium.
Royal jelly is the rarer material, so I set it up to hunt some of that.
Why is it? Oh, dang it.
I somehow had both ends of the snowy teleporter with me. I believe when you pick up either end, it gives you both, but I didn't realize this. So I wouldn't have a quick way home, but at least I'd be able to set up the two-way link on my next trip back to base. I then set up some accelerators pointing towards the big gap.
Like hypertubes in Satisfactory. Is this gonna work? What is this gonna do?
They are not. They only accelerate plorts, not humans.
It barely even accelerates these. Oh, I thought I was going to be able to get in this.
So that plan failed, but I had 250 energy now, and a more efficient jetpack, so I was able to make it across the gap anyway. I chained 3 radiant projectors together to get the beam of light where it needed to go.
Is this the end of the area? Dude, it looks so cool over there.
No, it is not the end. In fact, I'd just opened up a door to another massive area of the Grey Labyrinth.
Hello?
It featured many glass containers holding bushes. I shot up on some spurty water thingos and made my way over here, which took me through to another GG hologram.
Calling this area the terrarium, okay. The labyrinth as a whole is a facility that was intended to contain and stabilize the Prisma core.
GG reckoned this terrarium was an insurance policy, preserving flora so that it would survive the calamity should things go south. Meanwhile, I never say no to an opportunity to attack a shadow slime. I ventured deeper to find a room with a bit of a puzzle and a door requiring a hunter plort.
Dude, this is sick. Look at this. Little miniatures. I don't know where it wants me to shine this light.
I thought I needed a hunter plort to progress, so I placed a home teleporter. Once home, I placed the other end of the snowy teleporter, I stored some shadow plorts, and I soon returned with some hunter plorts in tow.
I assume the thing I need to shine at is in here? Oh, maybe it's not.
Yeah, I was way off about that, but there was plenty more to explore in this direction.
There's gold here. Even the terrarium is being affected because of the gold. The prismatic crap has turned stuff to gold. That's why the people she was working with originally betrayed her. They wanted the ability to turn stuff into gold so they could get rich.
The elemental changes were beginning to happen, and everything being gold sounds nice in theory, but just ask Midas how it turns out in the long run.
Okay, well, wait, what's this? Hyper slime. Yay!
There was some instability here, so I made some prisma plorts, and the hyper slimes were quite zippy. I wanted as many as I could catch.
Turbo-taters. Turbo-tater. What did that do? Oh, it infused some roots. Okay, it opened that way. Dude, where am I? How big is this flaming area? Turbo-tater? Yes.
This whole Grey Labyrinth business was shaping up to be way bigger than I'd expected. After poking my head into this blue area, I backtracked a bit and found multiple buttons, and I had no idea what was going on, but I guess I was opening up shortcuts. I returned to the blue area, and there was plenty of verticality, which meant plenty of exploration was required. But I soon wandered down to find a door hungry for an angler plort.
You butthead. The heck am I going to get angler from?
That was the end of the road in this direction for now, so I returned to the room with the puzzle, and I guess I forgot to look up earlier.
Oh, there's a button. I can't get up. No.
I tried from a different vantage, and the button was pressed.
It lifted the thing.
It was a wonderful thing to behold as the light shot off through that triangle above the door, but I was still confused. A drone fella showed up though, so that was yet another drone station module. Up even higher, there was one of those thingos that you're supposed to shine the beams of light at, but I had no way of getting the light up there, so I placed a return home portal and received yet another gift from Mr. Humphreys.
Oh, I can make the grade teleporter straight away. Amazing.
I also made another drone. I planted some turbo taters, and I shoved all the hyper slimes I'd caught into this corral, collecting as many hyper plorts as I could get my hands on. With all the drone crafting I'd been doing, I'd run out of flutter plorts, so I had a session collecting.
I can make yet another drone. This is crazy how many drones I have now.
After a sleep, a bunch of turbo taters were ready to feed these rambunctious zippy idiots.
Look at them go. They're flying everywhere now. Oh dear. They went hyper for the potatoes.
That got me a bunch more hyper plorts, but I was once again broke, so I had to sell before using those hypers to make the red teleporter. I accidentally withdrew from this drone station rather than sending stuff to the refinery, so it started spitting out materials at me, but I correctly sent the other stuff sitting in here straight to be used for crafting.
So I got a red teleporter and a grey teleporter to work with.
And I placed the other end of the snowy teleporter, which took me back to the grey labyrinth, where I switched this over to collect some tin petals before I floated back over the big gap to continue progressing. I brought a stack of shadow plorts with me, which I used to open this door. It led to a hole, so I dropped down to see what was what. It was a shortcut back to the lava area, where I took the opportunity to knock over another shadow plort door.
I'm feeling this is a good spot for a teleporter, right? Because it gets me straight up there, and then it also gets me into this magma zone.
Yeah, this was a great spot for a teleporter, especially because I was able to get a drone down to collect magma comb for me. After placing the red one down, I shot back up top, I found a roostro, and I dropped back down to feed a boom so that I could officially open up the shortcut. I managed to reveal more of the map, I found a cheeky shadow plort door behind some hanging vines, so I began feeding it, and I'd of course brought an angler plort with me, so this door soon opened up.
Quite a view, man. I need to get a light over here somehow. The map is unfolding a little bit more. Does it actually go all these areas? Hang on, that's the beam from the other side. I think I have gone all the way around, yeah.
That explains why I couldn't complete the puzzle back in that earlier room. It was a job for 2 rooms. Pushing the beam around a couple of corners opened up the door below.
It's open. I think once I get him fed, another beam will go back through there.
I teleported home, grabbed a bunch of taters of the turbo variety, and the red teleporter took me back pretty close to the action. So this big buffhead didn't have to wait too long for his breakfast.
Taters. Well, you didn't even need that many taters.
I pressed the button that had been hiding beneath his sizable buttocks, and it lowered a beam down from the ceiling. The beam shot through to that earlier room and reached the thingo with a little help from one of my radiant projectors. And that opened up the door below. So that whole puzzle was one big giant mission for a shortcut through this area, and it seemed I had nothing else to do here.
I believe I've got to get over here somehow.
I then randomly had a Pronto Mart session, buying a bunch of crap to earn an achievement to buy 40 items in the Polestar Provisions shop.
Alright, so I've just set this to get 5 plorts for me, because I couldn't figure out how to have 5 plorts in my base, so I'll just outsource it.
After a brief moment optimizing my drones around and about, I had an opportunistic pause to sink shadows and stabilize prismas, and then searched for a path to the mystery area on the left. I discovered some more info about Gigi.
She got back here through a weird means of travel, and her memories are now rearranged. So she reckons the labyrinth is like a containment facility to stop the Prisma Core, because it's like gonna take over the world with too many colors. You know what I mean?
There was a twin statue spinning about up here, and when I went to grab a twin plort, I found a shiny beam I hadn't found earlier. I soon had it illuminating the device, and a platform lowered with a spurty water thing on top, which shot me up.
Oh, it's a shortcut to glory. What?
The beam redirection required here was so simple it's a bit of a stretch to call it a puzzle, but it appeared I was onto something.
Alright, there we go. We found the entrance to the next area. That was kind of hard to find.
While it was on the brain, I deposited the twin plort into this statue's mouth, and I have no idea what that achieved.
If that did something useful, then I have no clue.
And I headed through my new door. It took me to a rather purple land, and unlike the area with the hyper slimes, this was rather open. It was of course time to get busy exploring. I chased an elusive drone around.
I caught you, you silly rat.
And I soon found the Sloomba I'd heard so much about.
Oh, what's this? Wait. No, come back. Sloomba!
I hovered over to this pipe and ended up somewhere wet. And in this golden pot, I found a new science material. Some dream bubbles. I changed some light to open up a door, and I gotta be honest, every time I came to this area, everything looked the same. So I had no idea where I was relative to anything else the whole time. All I know is I did get to what I suppose was the end of the area a lot quicker than the last area, as I soon greeted the Sloomba Gordo.
I'm hungry, Dingus. I need to feed you meat, huh?
I was pleased to collect many Sloombas, and I found the most finicky light beam puzzle yet, which I eventually solved to open up a door that led to into a room with some shadow slimes and a very hungry shadow plort door. I found the absolutely majestic favorite food of the Sloombers, some candied hens. Meaty sweet, what a treat. I did another light puzzle and ended up in another massive purple area. It was just never-ending purple. My goal was to track down more delicious chickens. I eventually found something a little more unique, a big old hedge maze. It was a little bit disappointing as far as mazes go, as I navigated through it without hitting a dead end once.
I'm pretty confident this is going to be the shortcut back to this area, which is where you can get the aqua glass. So I think I'll put my portal here.
I slapped down a drone nearby and set it to collect dream bubbles. And I was soon back on the ranch where the plan was to combine Sloombers with hypers, to turn this area into a glorious free-range land of contradictions. But this section of the ranch wasn't the most secure, so I had concerns.
So I hope that these lunatics don't fall off the edge. It seems like there's a little bit of a risk of that.
It was at least a lovely injection of top-tier plorts.
Yeah, no, this is the problem though. Look, wait, what are you fools? Why are they all... What's your problem, guys? Alright, whatever.
I used Sloomber plorts to make the berry teleporter, and I was able to make the green teleporter too, so I had two-way teleporters all over the place. Heaps of drone-grown fire plorts came through, and I kept shuffling drone positions to get whatever was in demand. I sold twin plorts at the juicy price of 78, and while I was at it, I figured I might as well offload my hunter plorts. And it was getting to the point where the amount of drone-found materials flying around was getting outrageous. I bought the golden sure shot upgrade, so if I managed to feed a gold slime, it'd drop 2 plorts instead of 1. And I took some chickens to feed this glorious beast. It exploded to reveal a portal, but when I went through, it wasn't what I was expecting.
Wait, there's a teleporter here? Wait, what? I thought it was going to take me there somewhere, and can I even get out of this room?
I could not, and I'd been expecting this to lead to the next section or something, but nope, clearly I was missing something. I made another drone, and I picked up an extremely useful upgrade, the Shadow Sure Shot, which means you get double plorts from hitting shadow slimes. I withdrew a royal jelly from the quantum realm, and I grabbed some other goodies I'd been saving.
Give me this. Give me this. Give me this. Have a strange diamond, sunsap, royal jelly, and lightning mote in your vac at the same time.
I finally scraped together enough shadow plorts to open this big door, so I now had a shortcut from the water area, where I set up a drone to collect more aqua glass than I'd ever need. This shortcut was a bit more of a mission to use, as you had to make use of multiple spurty pipes to get back up, but it was another extremely useful one nonetheless.
What's the final teleporter? The amber one. I need one more aqua glass. Yeah, that's all I need.
After a sleep or two, I had 29 aqua glass, and so I made my 8th two-way teleporter.
Oh, this thing just gives you more lore stuff if you talk to the drones.
I decided to try out another drone on the ranch, as I set up a market link in the Hyper Sloomber area and told this drone to sell all the plorts here.
If all these idiots don't kill themselves, then we have a chance of making some good money here. I'm very curious if he will make me money while I'm just away.
Spoiler alert, I don't think he did. Or if he did, it kind of sucked.
So I was assuming that I needed to complete these 2 areas, and then I'd be able to get to the Prismacore. But I don't think that's what you do. How do I open this? That's the twin one. That's the shadow one. That's right. I did those, didn't I? What's the third one?
So that's what those random statues I'd fed earlier had contributed to. And I'd somehow missed that door during my many visits to this central area of the Grey Labyrinth.
Yeah, so that's where I put the... Oh, hang on. I thought this was where I put the... Oh, you want a Sloomber. Yeah, I thought this was where I put the shadow plort. Where was the shadow plort?
I managed to finish off this shadow plort door, and then I returned home to admire my teleporter lineup and headed to grab a Sloomber plort.
Now, will these guys... Oh, there we go. Some money came through.
The drone had managed to sell about 100 plorts. I returned to feed the hungry Sloomber, and with that the door below me opened up. And honestly, this door is quite prominent, so I have no idea how I failed to notice its significance, because it was indeed a significant door. Up the big tower I went, and down a hallway towards an even more majestic door, featuring a twin Gordo who greeted me with a smile. I pressed the button, the door opened up, and through I went, deeper still.
We're dropping down?
I dropped down to find a GG hologram waiting for me.
I made it this far. Woohoo! The Prismacore lies ahead. I'm ready.
I was ready, but on the other hand, I was not ready, because I didn't expect the entire landscape before me to shift.
Oh. Okay. The toxic dust has been lowered. Oh, that's what that stuff was over there. Okay. We got the whole map, huh?
I dropped down because it was about time I visited the giant dome over there, which I was assuming housed the Prismacore. Or maybe it was the Prismacore. I was distracted by shadow slimes as I wandered down the floating path, and I was admiring the view too.
Very pretty.
I claimed another drone module from this fella.
Golden stuff is shimmery. The world is breaking apart. What's this ball? It's a bowling ball. It's got finger holes. Oh, it's a slime. Kind of shiny, isn't it? Oh, where's this going to take me? It's going to take me in the big snow globe, I guess.
In I went to earn the achievement for entering the Prismacore within the Grey Labyrinth.
Hello, Gigi Twilges West, the granddaughter of Hobson and Thora. Thora only told me recently they were going to have their first kid. Gigi's from the future. She's from the future where the Prismacore and Rainbow Island exploded. The portal beyond space and time in the first game. It seemed like it was ruined. She used it to travel to this point in time so that she could save the world by stopping the Prismacore from exploding. Whoever built the Grey Labyrinth created devices called Harmonizer. This Harmonizer is designed to stabilize the Prismacore. Yeah, the funny looking walls. I did see some funny looking walls.
Okay, so that was a lot, but basically Gigi is from the future, and she used the weird portal that you find at the end of Slime Rancher 1 to come back in time to stop the Prismacore from blowing up.
Dude, what? This place is crazy, man. There's a shower up there.
The shower will become relevant later, but now I needed to shove Prismaplorts into this exchange terminal.
I can't use gadgets here? It's definitely like a comet, right? It smashed in through here. But this was already built when it smashed through? That's interesting. I'll put my amber teleporter right next to the entrance to the Prismacore.
I deposited some shadows and managed to open this room which had a big golden thingo, and after grabbing the Prismaplorts I had in the silo back at the ranch, I shoved all 34 into this thing. That earned me a couple of rainbow coins, a currency that can be used at the mysterious night market, and it got me the nullifier blueprint too. By the look of it, more rewards could be claimed from this Prismaplort exchange, but for now I headed home and collected what I needed to make a nullifier. This included a shadow plort collecting session, where the double plorts from the sure shot popped off in the hallways here.
I think this will be the place to come when I need to farm the shadow plorts. There we go. We got the nullifier, baby.
And I had a world-saving quest to do, but I got distracted by the deep impulse to make big money.
The best strategy for money might actually be a drone out on the range, to be honest. If I just get him to get twins, he'll get the twins without me having to worry about food, and then I don't have to physically interact with the plorts at all. They'll appear here in a massive pile, and I can just press X to send to market, and it's completely smooth. So if I just let these two go nuts and collect so many twin plorts.
I left that experiment to run and ventured forth with my nullifier. I'd noticed weird shimmery walls around the Grey Labyrinth, and it turned out I'd been onto something. They were indeed weird walls that could be taken down with the help of my new device. I just had to go find them first.
Oh, there's definitely a weird wall in here somewhere. I think I remember a weird wall.
I got distracted collecting Prismaplorts, and I'd been collecting shadow plorts at any opportunity too, so I sunk some of those. And then I had to admit there was in fact no weird wall in this blue area. My memory was off.
Here we go, here's one.
I placed the nullifier down, and it did its work to carve a hole in the middle of the funky wall.
Oh.
Inside was the first harmonizer, that big fancy bell-looking dangler. And there were also shadow slimes, which of course distracted me as I let loose with a stream of phosphor plorts. There was also a shadow door in here, so I ticked that one off the list.
Wait, so what am I supposed to do? Oh. Just bang it?
That probably should have been obvious, but yes, I just had to whack the harmonizer and it was now activated. And this is when I adopted the chicken strategy. I needed food on me if I saw a gold slime. More specifically, I needed meat on me in case I saw a lucky slime, more on that later. And I of course needed something to shoot at shadows. Might as well tick off all three with one stack of hens. In fact, the chickens move around a bit and sometimes knock more plorts out of the shadow slimes. So this was actually a genius turn.
We need to corner them with so many chickens.
Collecting shadow plorts definitely wasn't going to be too much trouble after all. I googled a map to help me find these shimmery walls because I couldn't remember where any were exactly, and soon I had the second harmonizer activated. I continued chipping away at the shadow plort grind as I moved about, as chickens flew all over the screen, and soon I gave the third harmonizer a whack.
I'm curious about how many twin plorts have I saved up so far?
57, not too bad. I donked another harmonizer, and this one reverberated a lovely blue.
And I'm gonna trap you in here, angler slime. See you, mate. Good luck.
And the shadow doors continued to pop, to great reward.
Another storage cell.
I hoped these fancy golden thingos would give me double Prismaplorts, but they did not.
Wait, is this the last one?
It was indeed the last one, and its purple reverberation contributed to the stabilization of the Prismacore, somehow.
Does this mean I'm done? With the harmonizers activated and with your help, I can attempt to stabilize the Prismacore. She can feel the energy waves of the Prismacore in her arm.
When Gigi had visited the Prismacore back in her timeline, in the future, and the Prismacore had gotten rather unstable, it had affected her arm weirdly, so she was connected to it now, somehow. But anyway, she was going to shove the harmonizer's frequencies into the Prismacore, and apparently that was going to cause chaos.
It's like a boss fight. I'm literally fighting a Prismacore. What does that mean?
In response to the harmonizer, massive tar abominations began popping up around the room. Lucky for me, there were dollops of water I could suck up, and the water was effective to hold the tar at bay. Random slimes began spawning too, so I sucked those up, because apparently I could use them to cause a glorious shower. As I held off the tar, the health bar of the Prismacore was dropping, but when it got down to 0, a giant tar barrier popped up, and I guess we were in phase 2. This is where things got absolutely bonkers. Tar everywhere, random dirty tornadoes flying about, and a good dose of confusion on my part.
Oh, this is where I put the slimes.
Yeah, when I filled this thingo up with slimes, that giant shower head above was powered up to unleash a flow that took down the giant slime barrier, making it vulnerable to taking damage. But on this first go, I completely failed to do any damage because I'm a goose.
Here we go, here's my chance. Achievement. Where'd the tornado go? Yeah, I got the tornado achievement.
This was definitely the best opportunity to get the achievement to shoot a tar slime into a tornado, so I'm glad I took it. And when next I used the slime shower to bring down the barrier, I unleashed a stream of water to deal a good chunk of damage to the giant tar barrier. The big part of the barrier soon came back up, so I had to collect some more slimes in order to fill the shower up and bring it down again, allowing me to deal yet more damage.
Get some big damage in.
Huge damage.
Is it dead? Oh, yeah, it's dead. Or it's purified or something. Woohoo! We did it. Turned into like popcorn? I think it's popcorn now. Prismatic popcorn.
A whole dang boss fight in Slime Rancher. How about that? The threat of the Prisma Core was neutralized and the world was saved. Apparently, Gigi's Prisma arm felt more peaceful.
Help Gigi stabilize the Prisma Core and save Rainbow Island. Now, can you give me a bunch of Prisma plorts?
I shoved some in there and got a storage cell for my trouble, and when I left the area, I was hit with a cutscene.
Gigi left the Grey Labyrinth for the first time, and as long as she could remember.
She went and visited her grandma, except in the past. So I don't know if that was breaking any time traveling rules or what.
Isn't that gonna break the future?
Her mother had just been born. A little baby.
That's her grandparents and her mother. She's slightly older than her mother.
And so Gigi found some peace, but I had some work to do. I began buying toys from the Cuckoo Corner so that I could knock them off the Slimepedia, and I set up a linked cannon.
Fire a plort through a linked cannon, sending it to the plort market.
I made sure to read my mail from these goobers at every chance, because they often sent me stuff I needed for the decorations Slimepedia, and I officially decided this drone on the ranch was a disappointment. Ranch drones in general are poo-poo. I tracked down a painted hen for the Slimepedia entry, and after dark I hit up Pronto Mart, because that's when the night market opens up. I'd earned 5 of those rainbow coins at the Prismacore's Prisma Plort exchange, so I bought 3 cheap items to earn an achievement.
Make 3 purchases on the night market.
I went to Powderfall Bluffs and hunted down a Thunder Chick, and I tracked down a Candied Chick too.
So I've officially got all the resources in the Slimepedia.
I shoved some more Shadow Plorts into a door for another achievement.
Fill 10 Shadow Plort collectors in the Grey Labyrinth.
And that door gave me a regen module, which can be used to get quite a juicy upgrade.
Increasing energy regen by 15% is crazy good.
Meanwhile, I was still doing ranch chores, in order to make money or to fund my upgrades and crafting. I got the next tank booster upgrade, and I fabricated the Slime Ball Goal. There's an achievement to get a score of 120 within 60 seconds playing with this thing. And with my first attempt here, I realized this was not going to be very easy. The goal was moving around like a goose on the loose. As you can see, I collected a butt ton of pinks and cottons just to be able to attempt this. I put that on pause for a bit and set up an army of drones collecting twin plorts. 7 drones total. I had a feeling this was going to solve my money problems forever. All I had to do was wait for a favorable market. I tried placing the slime goal in a tight area, and that worked wonders to limit its movement, so it only moved back and forth, which helped me get the score that I needed.
That would be so hard without cheesing it like this. How the heck would you do that without cheesing it?
I then set up a return home portal at the end of Rainbow Fields, the area right outside my ranch. I began doing runs through the area, looking for a particular slime, and once I reached the end, I took the portal home, had a snooze to reset all the slimes, and ran through again.
Well, already. How lucky was that? That did not take long.
That was my 3rd run, so it was indeed rather quick. I then began sleeping through days to cycle the Cuckoo Corner stock, because I still needed to discover more toys for the Slimepedia. I kept buying them, but you don't actually have to, you just have to see them in the shop for the entry. But this took a while. I slept through the night many times, and my drones were collecting over 100 twin plorts per day. Meanwhile, the toys I needed to see just wouldn't show up. Eventually, twin plorts shot up to a value of 80 new bucks.
What's 80 times 4,000?
I had to press the D key for 3 minutes straight just to sell the flamin' things.
I think I had 2 more drones I could have moved here, but anyway. Oh, 330,000. Not bad.
I immediately spent 180,000 buying every blueprint in the shop, for some reason. I didn't need them for the Slimepedia, I was just feeling rich. And then it was back to resetting this flamin' shop, until finally.
Yes, finally. We got the rubber ducky. Okay, all the achievements are done. Complete the Slimepedia. I needed the slimes, the resources. Blueprints were not necessary. The rest are probably in those Pokeball things that you get, or the Shadow Plort thingos. And then the last thing I needed was just the toys. Took me so long to get the rubber ducky for some reason. So that is 100%. All achievements complete.
But I wanted to be aggressive with my completion of the game. I wanted to do the rest of the Slimepedia, all of those blueprints. I wanted to collect the rest of the pods, and I wanted to complete every upgrade. There was a rather big grind ahead of me. First up, a strategy to efficiently get Prisma Plorts. The instability disruption pocket thingo moves around the Grey Labyrinth, stopping in an area for minutes at a time. So any given area will have it active pretty often. When it's active, it of course turns any food on the ground into unstable food, which can then be used to farm unstable plorts. This can be chaos in an open area, so I used this room, which I attempted to block off with statues. I placed down these warp depots, which can be used to store items accessible from both ends of the depot, and as you can see, I brought an army of pinks to eat the unstable food. And the main benefit of this room, it has this giant gold thingo permanently, for ease of converting the unstables into prismas. You can actually run through it with the unstable plorts and they convert while in your vac pack, but I was amazingly slow to realize this.
Wait, I can just run through it.
The first attempt earned me 40 prisma plorts, which was more than enough to get the next tank booster upgrade, increasing my max stack size to 80. I collected heaps of food, and after some quick ranch plort collection, I was able to increase that stack size again, up to 90. But I needed one more storage cell before I'd be able to max out the tank booster. I was able to get the first regenerator upgrade though. It increases your energy regen speed by 15%. I then returned to my spot and chucked all the food on the ground, and I was very lucky, because the instability returned almost immediately and the food went blue. I got the pinks into the fray, and collected a stack of over 50 prismas. But that was 78 pinks and over 90 food, so it should have been more. I was doing something wrong, which I worked out later. I shot the exact amount of prisma plorts I knew I needed for upgrades into the refinery, and I stored the rest in a silo. And then I moved on to finishing the pods, starting with the Starlight Strand where I was at 15 out of 32. I of course pulled out the map on the wiki, and I used the waypoint marker to make this giant pink beam appear, which I followed to check all of the spots. This of course took quite a long time, and when I got down to the last few, it was once again tricky to figure out which I was missing, but I eventually claimed the last one of this area. Next, I set up a teleporter in a more convenient spot in the lava area of the Grey Labyrinth, as this was my favorite place to farm shadow plorts. There are a few shadow slime spawn points in these hallways, so on each run through I checked all of those. I dumped a big stack of shadow plorts in the silo, slept to reset the spawns, and returned for more.
This is going nuts. This is going nuts. Whoa. This was glorious.
I made use of warp depots for this enterprise too, and after a few runs I had about 300 shadow plorts, so I decided to start opening the doors. I had 12 more to open. Random shadow slime encounters topped up my plort stock even more as I wandered, but this was quite a slog. I got an injector module for yet another upgrade, and the most annoying thing was when I ran out of plorts and had to go back home to restock. Eventually I had no plorts left at all, and had to do a couple more runs collecting, but after a couple of hours of this, finally I got it done.
Final storage cell, that is 25 out of 25.
A sigh of relief, and okay, what's next? A bunch of upgrades is next. But upgrades cost quite a lot of new bucks, and I'd wasted 180,000 earlier for no reason. Luckily, I had just a few more twin plorts to sell at the juicy market price of 84 a pop.
The final heart module upgrade. Nice. The final tank guard upgrade. Nice.
I had to do a little bit of drone placing shenanigans to farm materials I was lacking, and of course, plorts needed to be yoinked from the ranch.
Tank booster. Final upgrade. Cost 50,000 new bucks. Just as well I got a fair bit. Reduces the delay before energy regenerates by 33%. Is amazing. That delay is actually so annoying.
I upgraded the power core and discovered I needed 50 more prisma plorts. I collected a fresh army of pinks and farmed for a bit, and soon the power core was maxed out.
So you definitely get 1 token per 10.
I shoved the remaining prismas in here and got back to farming yet more prismas, because by this point I'd realized some of the modules I needed for upgrades were for sale at the night market. I needed 30 rainbow coins, which meant I needed to put 300 prisma plorts total into the exchange. And this is where I discovered the inefficiency of my prisma plort plan. I'd kept my pink slimes in my vac back while waiting for the food to turn blue again, and it appeared that meant they didn't get hungry, so they of course ate way less food and I got way less plorts than I'd been expecting. This inspired me to innovate. I created the pink dungeon, where I kept all the pink slimes and refused to feed them for a couple of days, and then I scooped them all up to force feed them weird blue stuff. This process involved a lot of slime abuse and a fair bit of waiting around for instability storms to show up, but before long I'd collected about 250 more prisma plorts, which I used to get more coins.
Yeah, if you really wanted to go hardcore, you could buy all these things, but screw that.
That would have required farming a couple thousand more prisma plorts. I settled for buying the injector and regen module, which I used to pick up 2 more upgrades.
And then I start regen 66% faster. Is crazy. So that's the gap where if I use energy and then I stop, I'm not using energy anymore. Oh, it starts recharging so much faster now. It's actually an incredible quality of life upgrade. I don't know why they would put that right at the end of the game, where most people are going to be like, I can't really be bothered getting that. They really should give you upgrades like that so you feel like, oh man, I feel so much stronger. It feels so much better. Like, wow, there's momentum in the game. I guarantee you that would make people like the game a significant amount more.
A word to game devs. I think I make a good point. Give the awesome upgrades to the player at a point where it has a high impact, so that it makes the player feel amazing. Don't give it in the end game when it doesn't really matter. Anyway, now I just needed to farm some gold plorts. I needed 2 more sure shot upgrades, so I needed to find at least 2 more gold slimes, and I was worried this was going to take forever. Also,
what is the mystery Pokeball thing that I need to find find here.
And I needed just one more decorative item for the Slimepedia.
This is the Sunfire Daisy recipe, which is given to you by Thora West. Is she gonna do it right now? No.
I slept through quite a lot of days, and the old girl finally gave it to me.
Slimepedia is officially complete.
I then had the tedious task of double checking every pod location in the Ember Valley, until I arrived at a spot I was pretty sure I'd actually never checked before.
Yeah, this has got to be it. Yes! It trolled me because this is the carousel, and I already had this carousel in my Slimepedia because I saw it in the shop, so I thought that I already had it. That's 33 out of 33, 32, 3, 18, 18, and then 24 up here. That's also all 25 plort door thingos. I just want to show you proof that I got all the Slimepedia. There it is, 467. If I find a gold slime in the next 35 minutes of just running through here over and over again, I'll take it as a sign.
If I did not find one, then I was going to leave the golden sure shot upgrade undone. I didn't mind grinding the other stuff, but the gold plort farm was all down to luck. And as I said, I was worried it was going to take like 10 hours, and I wasn't prepared to do that. But it only took precisely 12 minutes for me to find my first.
Oh. I found one. No, I didn't want to find one. Oh, now I have to honor my word. That's the worst case scenario. I don't want to have to honor my word. Golden sure shot 2, and I need 3 for the final one, and I can now get 3 from 1 gold slime, so that's good. I only need to find 1 more gold slime.
So it appeared the gold slime farm wasn't going to be that bad at all. It only took 12 minutes of running through and resetting the rainbow fields to find one. By the way, I put down dash pads to make this run even faster. It was pretty zoomy. And about 20 minutes later, I found a second.
Oh. No! How did I miss? Oh.
It's all good though, because only 55 minutes later...
Yes! I did not fail this time. And here we go. The final upgrade. Every upgrade complete.
All done, too easy. Only 286 in-game days because I slept like 50 waiting for Thora to give me a bush.